But we used to play it and really block out. But at the time, the music we played was really the Virgin Island music, the Antigua music. We followed the trend. And we played one or two here. We challenged certain songs. I remember we used to challenge. We played a song by a band called Malavoie. I don't know if you know Malavoie from Martinique.
Of course, yeah.
We challenge a song. We used to challenge music and go very at that level of playing. And then we played at one or two shows at the thing and at the some festivals, some shows, some big shows at the Dominica Grammar School ground, live shows and so on. And then myself and Cornell backed up Janet Azuz on a song called Pays Moi. I don't know if you have that cue, but maybe you could drop that.
I don't have it cue, but I remember that song. Pays Moi. I remember that song.
That song
it was yourself and Cornell. I remember that song.
Right, myself, Cornell, and Jerry Mulo at the time played guitar with me. So we kind of backed up. That's really, I can recall the first recording of WCK. It was just a single. It was either done by either Mac Murray or Ken. I can't remember exactly now. Somebody can correct me. But I think it was done by Mac Murray. And then, that was really the first really big song of WCK. And then I had, I'm a qualified forester. That's my training. And I was dedicated to the work. My work was taking up a lot of my time. Traveling took up a lot of my time. And then I had to move on and off. So I was more or less like in and out of the band, in and out, but always maintaining my presence. Involved in production, involved in backup, involved in various aspects of the music, always involved.
Just want to say welcome to Cornell Fingers Philip. Good evening to you, sir, and Happy New Year.
Good morning.
Good morning. It's evening.
I wish you 10 times what you wish for the New Year.
And I can imagine so many hours spent in this studio, it almost looks like morning for you, or feels like morning.
Let me tell you, I've been in this studio since 3 this morning.
I can imagine.
I just left to go to a song check and now I'm here. Sorry for being late.
Okay, it's okay. You're excused.
The studio actually. Yeah?
We were just leaving the area where Wackers.
First time I hear his story,
That part of the story?
No, not that part of the story. First time I hear it from his perspective.
Well, yeah, that is why it is very important to actually bring Wackers in, because we want to take it from way back. Because there are several versions out there, and we wanted, Wackers' voice. I wish you could have gotten Keith also to be part of this discussion. But Fingers, Wackers brought us to the area where you guys made a first recording with Janet Azuz, Pays Moi.
Yeah.
And I remember you.
First recording?
Well, official recording, I think of. Well, was it?
Yeah.
I remember the recording.
But I remember. Let me see if I can get that sound played. I remember that particular song. So because Smokey and I went to were in same class, and myself and Smokey were in same class at the time. I'm not sure if you're hearing it.
No.
Okay, so myself, but I'm really referring to a sound called Music Suite. It was Music Suite, and I will see if I can get the technician to actually get us organized. But then Music Suite.
Right.
Was that your first recording? Because I recall Smokey bringing I think it was a record. It was Wax.
It was the first single that WCK recorded.
The first single.
It was the first single that WCK recorded. That was for. Was it for Independence? And then we did the album for Carnival. No, it was Carnival. It was Carnival 1988. And then our first album was for Independence, Reunion 88. I remember that clearly.
Was that the album with Mopsy One
Mopsy One More Sway?
Mopsy One More Sway. I remember that album.
So that album came out for Independence, but we did a single called Music Suite.
But then it wasn't Bouyon yet.
No, it wasn't Bouyon yet. It was far from Bouyon at that time.
Far from Bouyon at that time. What was it called? I mean, your own type of genre then? I mean, was it just a combination or
it
a
was
fusion?
Trying to copy Jam Band and Imaginations Brass and Burning Flames. That's what it was at the time.
Okay, let us see if we possibly can get. Well, those were the bands of the time.
Of the time, definitely.
Because from 17 plus, Imaginations Brass, Champ Band with Daddy Friday, these guys.
I can
Burning Flames.
Remember.
Wadix.
I used to look forward to hearing Imaginations Brass.
Yes.
On Wadix.
Yes,
brass section.
yes.
I remember that well.
Let us see if we can possibly get the sound this time. We are still not getting it, but we'll have our technician check us out in a while, and maybe we should possibly get that sound, because I really wanted to hear the first sound. But then, okay, Reunion 88, that was a big year for music in Dominica.
Yeah.
And from there, I remember that album, it actually did well over the frequencies. It was recorded at Mac Murray.
Yes, it was.
That was your first ever recorded, Markov Studios.
Markov Studios in Point Michel.
At what stage was the Bouyon then created, Cornell?
Well, I mean, right after, to be honest, or probably it was happening around the same time, but we still had that big influence from the northern part of the Caribbean music. What happened is that Daryl was working at the cultural division, and he would bring down bands, and he had this digital audio recorder. First of it, probably it was the first one in Dominica, at least the first portable one that I know of. And he would bring down these bands to Bath Road, and he would record them.
Yeah.
Now, he being my senior, our senior, Keith and myself, he would tell us to stop playing because he has his work to do. But Keith and I would troublesome boys like they are today. Keith and I would we started playing along with them. And then we wanted to imitate the accordion, the boom boom, the siak, the tambal, so we started to do that kind of stuff, and then it evolved into something. I don't know when we got our first machine, but I clearly remember programming, Culture Shock. Culture Shock is what that really took off for us, where the Bouyon genre is concerned.
So we can easily say Culture Shock was the first Bouyon created.
Yeah, I believe so.
During that time, the accordion was very prevalent.
Yes, it was.
And then that would be because of the influence of what you were hearing.
Because of the influence of what we were hearing from the traditional bands on the other side of the room.
Okay. If you would define what is Bouyon now, 34 years now, 88, 89, 34 years after. If you would have to define what is Bouyon, how would you define that?
Well, Bouyon is the modernization of the cultural rhythms of Dominica, simply put. Simply put. It was something that was just natural. We decided that we didn't even decide. We just played along with them, and then that just developed. Like when you repeatedly do something, it becomes like natural. It becomes your nature. So it was just that, we were going, and we started to develop a sound. We started.
So let's thought a while, Cornell. Let us see if we can get a little piece of what I was referring to.
Letting up endlessly hard. So some you will hold pressure on double. WCK take an inspection. Bin the badge and shine through your check start. Comparable bus everyone. The music sweet. The music sweet.
You clearly remember that song, and your voice, Cornell, then. How old were you then?
Probably as like 15.
15.
Yeah.
Wow, I couldn't use all that.
Yeah,
I
left school in 1988.
Oh, okay.
And as a young, I was 15.
Okay, so let's continue with the definition, because it's very important that we at least put something down as a definition for what is really Bouyon. because we are in everything and we are in so many
Yeah.
different versions. You know, it is important from the musicians part of it, and you know those who were there from the
As
beginning.
I said, simply put, Bouyon is the modernization of the traditional rhythms of Dominica.
Maybe I can just add to that. You use a nice word this morning. When you use it, I say, wow. What do you call it?
Amalgamation.
Amalgamation of various indigenous songs
Yes.
to create that one song they call Bouyon. You know?
But was
Simply-
there any influence, Colonel, then of, let's say, the same Burning Flames, jam band style incorporated into, let's say, the culture shock?
No, definitely not.
You were all thinking of the traditional aspect of Dominica's music and sort of computerizing it, modernizing it.
Yeah, that wasn't the assignment. We were just two little boys just playing around. Honestly, Keith and I were just two little boys playing around. But it developed into that because of what we heard at home. You know, we only heard things like Jam Band and Burning Flames and so because Ashton Phillip, my brother,
Yeah.
he had a song system.
Yeah.
you know,
Synchronics.
synchronic song system.
He and Zed.
He and Zed, right, exactly.
Zed
so,
Lloyd. Yeah.
So we had access to that, but when it came to, you know, the real influence, I don't know, probably is the fact of the difference between the live. We had the live music right in front of us as opposed to the records. You know, the live took precedence. You know, so I wouldn't say it brought us, you know, the influence of Burning Flames and Imagination and Jam Band and all these guys. I think it was what they influenced us in the sense that we could they introduced us to live playing, I guess. You know, but when it came to the music, I wouldn't say that they had such an influence on the music itself. We recorded some of these songs, you know, but it's like if you listen to the early albums, like even Culture Shock, you'll hear Bouyon oriented song and you'd hear totally different Tomian soca kind of a vibe, you know, so not Northern Caribbean kind of a vibe, you know. So it probably had an influence, but not a big influence on the Bouyon, on the style. No.
Culture Shock album, I mean, it really rocked. I remember this particular album was a major album, what they call it then, in full stead. From there, you guys never look back.
No.
And very critical during those days was your brother, Ashton.
Yeah.
And why so? Because he actually got the music out, which was, you know, during those days, it's not like now we have to carry records, you have to carry CDs, you have to carry, you know, boxes of records. Now it's just in a second, a song can be transferred.
Yeah.
But tell us about the part Ashton played then, Ashton Phillip, your brother.
Man, Ashton simply put invested in us. You know, when Ashton heard what was going on, when he heard what was happening between Keith and myself, he bought a mixing board, a Songcraft mixing board, a 24 channel mixing board. We had no idea what we were going to be doing. He also bought a reel-to-reel, a 8-track reel-to-reel, Tascam reel-to-reel, so we could record. We had no idea how to do anything at the time, you know, but we were experimenting and we had the equipment there available to us through Ashton. Ashton also bought Keith his first bass guitar.
Wow.
You know, and he really saw something in us, you know, and we were so troublesome. We would go and we would just mess around with the equipment, and then Ashton would have his certain way of doing things, and you know, but it came a time when we started to record, and at the time Liat, if you remember, Liat used to have a 21-day Caribbean ticket.
Yeah.
That I think you used to buy for a little bit of
Yes, I recall that. And you could go all over the Caribbean.
Yeah, and Ashton used to buy these tickets and you just take the records and you just travel.
Yeah.
You would be gone for 21 days just traveling the Caribbean and bringing the music all over the place. He would go to St. Martin, he would go to St. Thomas, he would go to Antigua, Barbados, St. Lucia, you know, even way down south as far as Trinidad. you know, and he would market, he would literally market WCK's music, and eventually started to market other bands like For Serenade, Effects Band, you know, and he was just the band. In Dominica, he was just the man that was marketing Dominica music, you know.
Very, very, very interesting, because I remember these days very clearly, and in particular the Wax, those records,
Right.
and
Heavy records.
But then WCK moved from strength to strength, and then there was a particular sound which actually, cricket was a big thing then.
Mm-hmm.
Cricket was a major hit during those days. West Indies, was doing good then, and you all came up with that song Vola Vole. And I think from there, it really brought a kind of Caribbean sort of vibration to WCK's music. I think the Caribbean then started to really notice something was happening with Bouyon music, with Vola Vole. What's your impression? What are your impressions?
Vola Vola is amazing, you know. I think we were in England when we decided that hey, we should do a conch shell song and thing, and this and that and that. And Ran myself used to stay in the same room upstairs in the house we were staying in England whilst on tour. And I can remember going up in the room and putting the keyboard down on the bed, and I just started to program something, just started to, just work on something. And I guess we came together, and being Dominican, having that influence, that traditional influence, that conch shell vibe came out.
Yes.
And I must give kudos to the original conch shell blower. That conch shell sample is actually Peter Later.
Oh, in conch shell.
In conch shell. That is
Wow.
actually Peter Later playing there. And as you know, we come from a very large musical family. And I don't know how it happened. Oh, they had Boo Boo Lipsers. They had a Lapo cabaret band called Boo Boo Lipsers.
With Daddy Chess and the
With
rest.
Daddy Chess, and I was a part of it also. And then we brought him up there. At that time, we were at Ken Robinson. We had Nature Island Studios by that time. And then we recorded that song.
Wackers, you would by then, be taking part in your profession. You left the band by then.
Yeah, but
Left, but at least still having your link.
But always involved, always in and out of the studios. Colonel who do his recording, call me in, give a critical analysis, how that song did. Doing a number of things like even
Backups.
and then
backup vocals. And
in terms of the lyrics itself, we would sort of, me and Smokey would kind of go over lyrics and review it and edit sometimes, change here and there. So the involvement always there.
You played on Culture Shock?
No.
Okay, by that time you because the first Bouyon, according to Cornell, is this. The first ever Bouyon song ever created. Culture Shock, 1989. And fingers, once again, this was the first.
You have to make the few of your play.
Oh, you want the few of you to play? No problem. Let's make it for That's okay. No, I am very happy because that was a sort of replica of the accordion.
Yes, yes,
And
yes.
that was one of, I think, a sound, a computerized sound of the accordion, never heard before.
Yeah.
And Dominican and Caribbean people, that kind of resonated. And that was the birth of Bouyon.
That was the birth.
That was the birth of Bouyon. There was a guy around your studios called Maurice Isles.
Right.
How instrumental was he in getting the band to a different level?
Very, very. Morris came in, I think, in the mid 90s. In 1994, Serenada gave us a volley.
Yes. Befralaje.
Serenada gave us a volley.
Befralaje.
And we needed to come better than that. And I think that is where Morris shined. Morris was, he was a jeb kind of a fella, like to go in the machine and things like that. And the machine in the studio, they do, you can play around and stuff like that. And then we realized that he was coming up with some nice ideas. I needed to clean up some things and so on, like put things in pitch and stuff like that. But he was very instrumental in from the 90s till he left, I guess. He was very instrumental in the band.
Absolutely. And the guitar, which sort of lost a little momentum later down.
In recent times.
In recent times, we must say. But in those early days, the guitar was also very critical.
The guitar was critical. Our first guitarist on recording was Wayne McLawrence from Portsmouth.
Yeah.
And then when Martin came in, Martin brought in that kind of, Wayne had that picking style too,
Yeah.
But the rhythmic pattern we know of the Bouyon guitar, the Bouyon rhythm, that was developed by Martin Dale Olive, and Martin was he was a compa, zouk, love, kind of a
Creole,
guy. So
Creole.
Exceptional.
So he had that kind of vibe with him, and it created it had a great impact on the musicality of Bouyon.
But just to say, sorry.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Wackers, go ahead.
No, I'm saying, like, you see Martin influence critical. I'm back with CK and playing guitar, and I took the time to go over CK music really closely, and I realized that, wow, Martin was really exceptional in terms of what he played. So even today, I try to even copy that influence, copy in the sense of creating and still not losing that, because I think it was very critical in the sound of CK itself as well. So Martin, a lot of kudos to Martin, even today.
I mean, Martin have songs that he sang on the album that people haven't heard. But when you listen to these songs, you go like, wow, that's WCK. Sometimes I listen it back to some of these songs, I check in, how did we come up with these things? We had intros, we had bridges, it was, and we did it together. We did it as a collective in the band house, in the studio, we did it as a
How was it like then? I mean, Cornell, an energy, you guys were actually rocking all over the Caribbean, the music was resonating. There was that tight competition between your band and Serenade, but closely followed by, let's say, the Rough and Readies and the Effects, and these guys were around. RSB, very critical band, very close. But then what was the feeling like in the studio when you are actually producing music, you're recording music, what was it like?
To me, I was in technical glory.
Yes.
To be honest. I mean, when you have a man invest hundreds of thousands of dollars into equipment and he just gives you the keys and he tells you, hey, do what you want.
And you're referring to your brother?
No, I'm referring to Ken Robinson.
Oh, Ken Robinson, right. So you did this magic at Ken Robinson's studio?
Well, I mean, we were first at Markov Studios, then after we went to WCK Home Studio. And then from WCK Home Studio, we went up by Ken.
Yeah.
And at that time, by the time we got up by Ken had just got this, Ken had the first digital DAW, they call it digital audio workstation. Right? And fellas would record. And then they would go home, and when they came back, everything would be lost. You know, because you know when you record to tape, you record to tape. When you come back, you rewind and you play the tape, and that's that.
Yeah.
But we didn't know that we had to save.
Oh boy.
So it's like
Had to go back and do everything.
we had to go
over.
back and do everything, and the files were actually there, you know. The hard drives were getting full, the files were actually there, but we didn't know
How
we had
to recover.
No idea how to recover, how to access it. And well, even if we accessed it, to piece it back together would be a major problem.
Absolutely. What about some of the highlights? I mean, WCK, we traveled far and wide. I remember those days were the days you would be getting 2,000 and 3,000 people in a jam in New York City.
Right.
I mean, those were real glory days in terms of not just music for Dominica, but then there was a nice feeling, a nice camaraderie. Dominicans came together from all walks, from as low as way down from Miami, come all over for a Labor Day session. What are some of the highlights of WCK?
For me?
Yeah.
That
And Wackers.
That difficult to...
I know, but I know you guys taught
But I
extensively.
remember, I remember All Nations in New York.
in
playing
New
at
York
All
City.
Nations. I remember Good Times. Good Times, that's where I got my nickname Fingers. I don't know, man. There are so many moments.
Play at Madison Square Garden once.
Yes, we played at Madison Square
No man
Garden.
fingers, and that is what I'm referring to.
That must have been a major
WCK
highlight.
played at Madison Square Garden, the
Yes,
world-renowned
we
Madison
did,
Square
we
Garden, and I think the world needs to know about that. What was the experience like with who you played? What are some of the bands you played with?
You know the funny thing, you asking me that particular question, and at the time, like right now, I'm blank.
Wow.
And I'll tell you why. At that time, I was just happy to be playing music because as the youngest, I didn't worry about the business aspect of it at the time. I just knew that I was going on stage and I was playing and I was making everybody happy. You know.
But you can't recall anything from the Madison Square Garden experience.
No. All I know is that when the time up, the curtain just closed.
Okay. But you guys would have toured London, Europe.
We actually
extensively.
We actually played at Wembley too. You know?
At Wembley.
Yeah, we played at Wembley.
We need to know that, Wackers. Dean is now smiling. That's because that's the first time he's hearing
Who's that?
Dean of
Oh,
Instructions.
Jin. Okay.
No, I mean, this is important to know. I mean,
mean-
Wembley is, a major stadium
Major
in the
arena.
UK. In the UK.
I mean, we have played in places. I mean, we played at the Rex in England. I know the best part about playing at the Rex. Cassav opened first.
Wow.
With the headline.
Just imagine, Dominica's WCK headlining and Cassav,
Yeah.
the great Cassav,
Yeah.
have to be actually opening for WCK. This is important to know, mainly because of how important Bouyon music is to Dominica and
Bouyon
to all
music
music.
was the music at a particular time in the Caribbean.
But of course,
Bouyon music was the music.
And it's still returned.
balance, batty fingers. Once again, the element of the accordion, very prevalent. And up to this morning, I heard Asa Banton saying this is still one of the songs resonating. Possibly your biggest ever song. I mean, WCK's biggest ever song.
I think so.
Most successful song.
I would think so. Yes, definitely. I met a couple yesterday. One of them, she's Dominican, but she left for a while, and her husband is from Germany. And I was talking to them, and they didn't know who I was really. And then she started to talk, and we got to the music of Dominica, and she was saying that it has been years now that she has been dancing to this song from Dominica. That's her favorite song, and it was Balance Batty.
I can imagine.
And then when she found out that I was one of the creators of Bouyon music, she was like, wow, and she started to take out a picture.
Of course. Local celebrity.
But, yeah.
We departed from the accordion style Bouyon, and then we move into a different phase. Tell us about that particular phase.
Well, the accordion still had the influence.
But we want to let's go with the balance batty, just for those who may still want to resonate about it. The greatest ever CK sound. Let's go. I mean, because we could go on and on, but once again, you know, even in your greatest song ever, the accordion was so prevalent. But then as music evolved, like every other genre.
Let me tell you, you know I played with Rupee, right?
Yes.
Okay, so when I flew over to Barbados to play with the .com, Rupee and the .com band, our first rehearsal, I went inside there and I was nervous because I don't know. I know Barbados have some serious musicians, you know. So you all, and I'm the stranger, you know. So you're feeling a little nervous and thing. And them fellas, from the time I get into the studio, into the band house, them fellas telling me, hey, play that thing. And I go like, and them fellas just go flat. Them man go flat, and it's like, how did you come up with that? How you do that? And it's like, that's so simple to do.
I know.
And you know, but it has an effect on people. When they hear that, they go in a frenzy. You know, every international soca fete that you go to, you must hear Balance Batty. You must hear Balance Batty.
Yes,
You know, the thing about that is like, the only man that do maybe recognize his own talent is Cornell. I think, you know, I mean, you think he's amazing, but he'll tell you, like, you know, it's just part of him. He does do that naturally. And like, you yourself wondering, shit, where Mr. get that from, you know, how we did that. So it tells you a lot about him. And also, the other members, I think, you know, you cannot forget, of course, Ra and Smokey.
How were those two members, you know, I mean, because it's important, let us talk out on everyone and the contribution they played, you know, with the band.
Tremendous. I mean, you must compliment them. Irvin is a genius musically. A lot of these things you hear in Cornell may technically do it, but Smokey sometimes gets it, you know. And, you know, especially...
Irvin is the one who used to put the
construction
chord structure.
Construction.
Irvin was the one who used to
Irvin
do
is
a lot of
man
that.
like creates, and he's a real doctor in terms of construction of chords. Irvin is man tell you, boy, Marcus, use a big chord there now. Use something there. You know. Irvin is a genius. You know what I mean? So the band in itself as a band, a collective band together, is a tremendous band. You know. Yep.
That chemistry, it would be remiss of me if I don't ask about that chemistry. Lots of times, like in Exile, you know, Gordon and Fitzroy had that, you know. You and Ra, I know, I mean, not on so much good terms those days, but then we cannot forget about what happened,
Definitely
what was
not.
created during those days. There was a chemistry. Something was going on between, you know, you two guys, a natural chemistry. Tell us about that chemistry.
It was natural, I don't know. It was natural, man. I mean, we had to make music, you know, and we come together, and Ra has his background in music, in traditional music. So he brought his knowledge to the table. I had my influence from back when I was, you know, with the listening to Daryl's bands, you know, when he brought down his bands to the house and stuff like that. So I mean, we had that gel, you know, we had that gel musically.
Absolutely. Then every band go through the phase, you know, and then you got fellas like let's say Skinny brought a different dimension to the band.
Yeah.
With his kind of Bouyon muffin, sort of kind of reminiscent of Bungie, kind of Bungie Gallant type. Then a little later when Ra left, Nai was also
reminiscent of what Bungie Garlin is doing.
Well, yes. But then Skinny was ahead.
Was the original.
Skinny was ahead.
Right,
Skinny was ahead.
right.
Yeah, I want to take it. Skinny was already ahead. But then that Bouyon muffin brought a variation, and you would know Cornell because there were people like Dice, part of the band, Nai, part of the band,
right,
and also Skinny at one time, part of the band.
He came in as a keyboardist, you know.
Nai came in as a keyboardist.
Yeah, and eventually, actually, Nai and Clint came in as keyboardists.
Wow.
And then they eventually started to sing. You know?
But then, I mean, that whole journey saw quite a bit of some of the most, dynamic musicians and artists. And I think Skinny himself was underrated. For somebody to ride on Bouyon rhythm, when you listen to Marathon and, you know, you listen to songs like these, and this guy was just a natural, You also,
I'll tell you something.
yes,
Wadix.
Skinny. Go ahead, Wackers.
And the influence that music had on other Caribbean music.
Yes.
The jab jab.
Yes.
The Bungie Galleons. I mean, Bungie admitted that he used to listen to Skinny. Bungie Galleon. What are Bungie doing today? He say he was totally influenced by Skinny.
Skinny Banton of
When you hear
Dominica.
from Grenada, like the jab jab, using especially the emphasis on the conch shell, they know that is DA. That is from DA. So therefore, the music had a far-reaching influence on other musical genres in the Caribbean. Still today.
Mm-hmm. And you know, what about the other bands, Cornell? You now looking back at the 54-year history, and you look at, let's say, what Triple K have done to the genre, and I mean, even now, let's say Signal, and even the Junior. By the way, I want to congratulate you for giving the Junior Monarch a special prize. I think that is what we need to encourage the young. But when you look at that whole body of work, from Culture Shock, let's say, to the Junior Calypso Monarch, you at the helm in 1989, and we are now in 2024. God has given you the life. God continue to allow you to master your craft. How do you feel?
I don't know if I should say that.
You can say, I mean, because it's important for us to know, because for so much, for manners, I mean, this is about 34 years. A career spanning that much, and the influence, most of the Bouyon artists, the keyboard, those that play keyboard were influenced by you. Those that sing were influenced by WCK.
I mean, I really do.
You know, and
You
the
put
music.
me on the spot. You put me
No,
on-
but it's important. Fingers. I can give you a few seconds to think of it.
No, I don't have to think of it. I'm happy that I could make such an impact on Dominica's music, on Caribbean music, on world music. The other day I told somebody, I think, actually the same couple I was telling you about earlier, I told them yesterday that I think I have accomplished my immortality.
Yeah. this is strong. This is extremely
I think I have
strong.
accomplished my immortality.
This is extremely strong.
You know, because I think I have a very large body of work, and it says who I am. It actually explains who Cornell Phillip is. You know, so I'm happy. I'm very proud of that moment.
What is WCK now? Who is WCK now?
WCK is everybody that has passed and everybody that is present. You know, because I don't think WCK is a set number of people. You know, we know who we have on stage at the moment. You know, who's performing with us at the moment. But how to explain it now? Okay, take for instance today, as in the studio working with Dice, and then Workers, who was there? Workers, Irvin, Delhi came into the studio. Clint was there. Nai came into the studio, and it was like, this is us, this is who we are. You know, so it's like, even if I was doing my Calypso with Dice, and Dice is not really performing with WCK, but when we come together, we are WCK. You understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
You know, Nai hasn't been with us for probably a year now, but he's back in Dominica, and it's like, we are WCK.
By the way, we are taking calls for Cornell Fingers Phillip and Ashton Wackers Lugan. I think we have our first call. Good evening, Creole Heartbeat for Wackers and Cornell Fingers Phillip.
Hi, good evening, guys. Good evening, Wadix. Good evening, Cornell. Good evening, Wackers.
What's your Calypso name?
Mighty Rice Man.
Mighty Rice Man. Yeah. First of all, I just want to say, congratulations, and I just want to thank you guys for all what you've done for Bouyon music. I mean, without you guys, we wouldn't be enjoying what we're enjoying today. But I just have a quick question. I want to find out your impressions or your views on. Do you think enough was done back, 20 years ago in terms of marketing the music, so that because we're seeing what's happening now with the whole advent of the internet and the music so easily accessible, how the Bouyon now has, really taken off. But when you really look at things, I mean, I don't want to discredit what other people are doing now, but I mean, it's chalk and cheese when you compare what you guys did in the 1990s and whatnot compared to what we have now. So do you think that you guys could have been a lot further off had there been, better marketing structure in place and, better avenues for marketing?
Would have been better if we had a lot of things.
Thank you very much, Scholar.
If we would have done so much differently, The marketing could have been better, but yet the marketing was great. I mean, you would go anywhere and you would see WCK CDs, all over the place. Ashton, I think, did a marvelous job. Probably we should have had more, and probably if we had more of the trade expositions, the Carifesta and these kind of things, probably if we would travel a lot more and be on these international regional stages, that would have created a better impact for Bouyon music, but I guess, nothing is perfect. I do believe that with the technology we had today, we should be doing a lot more. We should be more the Bouyon industry should be more organized, to be honest. After all these years, I still don't know why we simply just cannot get along. I always say...
And when you say we cannot get along, what you mean?
We. It's not only WCK, it's not only Ran myself. So much nonsense
Is there hope? Is there hope?
Yes, there's hope. Once we have life, there's hope. Yeah. Once we have life, there's hope.
Because I was on a program this morning, and Issa Banton in particular actually called for reunification of the original WCK with Ra. Is there some hope in we seeing that? We are the patrons, we are the lovers of the music. I myself would love it, seeing that. By the way, you guys remember, Cornell, we used to have the big W's clashing. The big W's, what they call in WCK, at every Carnival Tuesday, we would put our speakers back to back by Sharrows. You remember those days? You can't remember that?
No.
Well, what we would do, because WCK would face up and would face the bridge and would connect our stuff together.
Yes.
Every Carnival
in between
Tuesday,
the bridges.
In between, yeah. Put our stuff together.
Okay.
And that's how we would stop the party. But then I would really love to see, and I think the country. And if you'd have to take whatever, if a priest have to come and pray or whatever, if Val Coffee have to come and pray as a deacon. But I think, with what is taking place in the music industry, that energy, I would love to see all the guys, Nice, Skinny, Ra, even Dice come in a big.
I don't know if it's a cultural
festival
thing. Well, we're trying it on Tuesday.
Yeah, which will come to in a while because you have that major. But I was just referring to, there's hope. We know lots have gone on. Can we just forget what has gone on and let's do it for the music, let's do it for the fans, let's do it for Dominica, that flag. Because sometimes in life, we have gone through all kind of challenges. Man and woman get vexed, people dying so easily those days. We have been losing so many of our great Dominicans. We just lost two beautiful ladies,
exactly.
Dr. Carissa Etienne and Fedina. We never know when is our last moment. But I think we all of us, we owe it to ourselves and even our country. At some point in time, we have to put ourselves in a position. And then you also have quite a bit of children now. You just made a brand new one recently.
Quite a bit of children.
Quite a few.
You have children.
You have children. Sorry, I take it back. I take it back. Children.
Yeah, but Wadix, let me just comment on that.
Yeah.
Some things are easier said than done, and there are some things that require even more than just words,
All right.
There are underlying issues that sometimes you don't know about. I know you can say that. You mentioned like Messi, you called two footballers that couldn't agree on the came
Zidane
together.
and Thierry.
But there are times and there may be sometimes where the underlying issues cannot be resolved and it requires something else. Maybe a divine intervention, sort of. Let's put it that way.
Mm-hmm. And are we there? Are we there at this time? That is only divine intervention can get you guys
Well,
to play together.
Divine, you can always intervene divine, but the results sometimes probably may not happen immediately. So that issue there is something as a whole another issue.
Okay.
You understand?
But it is
the
something
issue
that you're
is
willing
ongoing.
to. But it is something that you'll be willing to look at. And
we
at
always.
The issue is current and it is ongoing, and because of that, there are certain things that we cannot do.
Okay, by the end of the what I had this morning, brother Irvin Pascal actually want to lend the support to see if he could get some kind of reconciliation with you guys, because he was thinking of the African component of it and how important in terms of the ancestors, the ancestral link. And what is IP?
Of
because
course.
it's important, because
Yeah,
he
after
sees things that deep.
Yeah.
But then you guys are also putting a Bouyon festival together,
Right.
and that's for Bouyon Day next week. Tell us about that.
Well, I mean, Bouyon Day, I think we probably more than 10 years, close to 10 years. I can't remember the exact date. Thanks to Val Coffey for his initiative, and thanks to DBS Radio for executing that initiative. But on Tuesday, we're going to be showcasing Bouyon.
Just hold your thought a while. Fingers. Good evening, Creole Heartbeat for Fingers and Wackers. Hello, bonsoir. Good evening. Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
That sounds like the slime of the earth.
Yes, it is Steinbeck Henry.
Stein.
I would like to recognize the energy you have in your studio now. The people who are seated with you now are creators of a form. And even their very presence with you now, when you mention hope, hope is a living thing with them now. When you mention Africa, Africa is on their lips and on their fingers now. And I think while we do not wish to minimize divine intervention, we need to recognize energy in its quantum form as it is with them now. And on February 2nd, 2024, they are energized beings with you now, having come through stages from 1988 to now. Where did they pass to get to you? They came to your studios. Where did Cornell come from? Out of his studios. These are living, active, working beings. And I think sometimes the conversation has to be their tremendous value now, which is not to say what you're doing or what you're doing is excellent, but we need to recognize them as energized beings now. How much does that help? It helps a lot. Okay, I'm not opposed to the dreaming, but I love what they are and what they've done. As they told you, Bouyon is the past and the present. It is an accumulation of beings, cloud of witnesses that have brought them to this point. Look at where they've come. Look at how far they've traveled. Look at the distance. Look at where they started as boys to where they are now with the super Wadix in a studio. All of you are wonderful people expressing yourselves now. And this is what makes you magnificent. You can plan otherwise, you can talk about marketing and recordings, but sometimes we need to appreciate you for what you are now.
Thank you very much, Stein, and may God bless, kiss your lovely wife, and take it easy, my friend. By the way, congratulations on your doctorate. This is simply brilliant.
Extremely
brilliant.
Actually, I usually wait on Steinberg's comments.
Yes.
Especially while I'm doing, in the calypso. I haven't heard him comment on the calypsos themselves. I would wish that he would make a comment, especially on Tuesday nights when Cecil having his program. I miss his commentaries on the songs in particular when he breaks them down. So Steinberg, thanks a lot. I mean, I know Steinberg a long time. He has always been what he is, a genius.
Fingers, I felt this was the perfect way to actually introduce what you guys are going to be doing this year. No, it takes place now. We are living now. We want to tell you guys now how much we love you, how much we appreciate what you have done for Dominique and Dominica's music, what you continue to do because you are having an activity. And I also thank you for you and your wife. Your wife is still the reigning Bouyon monarch. I wish we could have spoken about that because I believe there is some life and hope in the organized.
Right.
Bouyon umbrella, but it has to be organized. But you guys are putting something together.
I mean, the majority of us are genuine. We're just not gelling. We're just not organized.
Nice, yeah.
We need to come together and do something in a unified way so we can market not only ourselves but market the genre.
Are you feeling? Let's say even if it's for next year's carnival, just try to imagine a major Bouyon festival with every single, including some of the guys I have criticized, everybody that involved in the Bouyon music.
Yeah,
old and
I
new, a
mean,
big festival workers. You know, something big, huge. I'm talking about Windsor Park Sports Stadium, not in no forecourt or, you know.
I mean,
I believe there's power in it.
You
have
can
a huge market.
remember when the Creole Festival, how the Creole Festival was when it started?
Of course, I remember the first
look at
night.
It today.
I remember the first night we had less than 1,000 people. The first night.
Well, Wadix, the intention is exactly what you're talking about. Like, that is why in the first place we decided to do Bouyon Fest. It is something that we, let's say, doing this year as, let's say, you can call it a trial, but it is something that we plan to continue on a yearly basis.
It is carried for next week Tuesday.
It's carried for next week
Tell
Tuesday.
us about some of the bands that are confirmed already.
Well, the bands, not already. We confirmed it's set. You know, everything is set. We have Triple K, Signal, First Serenade, Taffy featuring Guada G and Freddie and WCK.
Was Issa Banton invited?
Yes, Issa Banton and Signal. I said Signal, didn't I?
No, you didn't say Signal.
Yeah.
Woo! They gotta fire me.
But was Issa Banton invited?
Yes, Issa Banton was invited, but I guess he had probably at the time he was busy doing other things and we needed to close, close and everything. But yes, we did rope him into the lineup, but things didn't fall in place like we would have hoped.
I didn't hear the Bouyon Queen, the Expeditious one. I didn't.
No, the Bouyon Queen, the Expeditious one, the baby at a stage now where you can never tell. You can never tell, you understand?
Good evening, Creole Heartbeat for Fingers and Whackers. Yes, good evening.
What's up?
What's up? That sound like Palu.
Thank you very much for sending me your personal invitation to this program tonight.
You're welcome, sir.
Yeah, Colonel and Marcus, good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Yes. Wadix.
Yeah.
Nobody knew. I can say it now. When I was being employed, when I was at work, and I'm WCK traveled to New York and Canada extensively. Colonel, maybe we didn't know.
Can you just, Paulo, before you continue, can you just load on the volume of your whatever computer or whatever? Yes, because it's giving us a feedback. Okay.
Better?
Yes, it's much better now.
Okay. I used to take my vacation most times when WCK job. And Chief would have known that, but I used to be in New York and Canada most times when WCK played. Now, what I want to say is, Colonel, Keith, Walker, that was WCK, that was named after those guys. It was named after them. And I don't believe for this day, the groups that have spring up after WCK. The WCK presently, they don't get the prominence like these other performing bands get. Well, maybe can answer that from there. I don't know why. Maybe you want to can say why. Why they don't get this prominence that they deserve? Because most times you hear the other bands being brought forward. You know, you have different names of WCK. You have original WCK. You have pioneers WCK. You have this WCK. But the original members of the WCK, they don't get the proper. And this troubles me. Cornell has been awarded twice, more than once. Ra has been awarded more than once. Okay? As being permanent member of the general mission. WCK one, I don't know anybody. WCK was brought Bouyon music to Dominic. Okay? And I don't believe we get the thing in one person in particular. You know, there was one I tried to nominate Keith, my nephew, to be awarded in the how you call it,
The Meritorious Service Award.
Not even Meritorious Service.
The Golden Drum.
Golden Drum, that's right.
Try and round off a palo because we have a few other guests coming in.
Okay. But I don't want to, I can dwell. You know, I've been having a lot of one-on-one back and forth with a lot of guys when they talk about WCK. And one thing with me, I will never hear anybody say anything bad about WCK, and if I'm around, and I don't respond. Okay? But guys, I will be very happy. I am one who would be very happy if these guys come back as WCK original. Wadix, you said that in the Sunday brunch parties at Lions Hotel?
Yes, man. I couldn't miss that.
That was prominent. That was one of the main, and I'm telling you, man.
That was on Carnival Sunday.
Yes. Let me tell you, you go to Lions Hotel, from the Lions Bridge, Old Bridge, up to the bridge at the Grow Show, all that traffic.
That is correct. That is correct. If you come late, you have to walk for about a mile.
I'm telling you, you know, and you know, because, you know, I'm not so I didn't get emotional, but I would be happy if one day I go to Dominica and WCK have been on the sideline in Dominica for a long time. I don't know why. But anyway, I am happy that we brought those guys together. I think my nephew is coming down tomorrow. You know, so I'll be happy. It's just because this year I cannot be in nomination. I will be happy. Last year, I was at the pop-up. When they had this thing at the pop-up, I was there. This year, due to other personal thing, I will not be able to be nominated. Not even for candidate.
Okay, Paulo, but thank you very much because you have a few other guests coming in. Guys, very importantly, the endorsement again, and Paulo, we know how strong Paulo is in terms of his support for the band. He's also the uncle of Keith. I really believe, you know, guys, you all are alive, and it's a reason for that. God and continues to bless us.
Not to cut you, because I realize our time is short. Paulo said something that is very important.
Yeah.
Keith.
Yeah.
Keith is the man who single-handedly, you know, kept WCK together.
Yeah.
It wasn't an easy thing. It is not an easy thing. And yeah, according to Paulo, you have to give him his kudos for that.
I agree.
Keith is the only member in WCK that never left.
Yeah.
You check?
This is big, man.
He had a
This is
lot
huge.
on his shoulders.
This is huge.
He had the financial burdens. He had the emotional burdens. He's the one. He's the common denominator in WCK.
He's the Iron Man.
Yes.
Yes.
And you see, we have to big up people like Keith. You know, because I am emotional also, because I remember he has always been in WCK no matter what.
No matter what.
And we also have to kind of big up people like Peter. What Peter? Snakey, Maggie, Michael Snakey.
Yeah, Snakey
also
P,
Maggie, and Pull the Plug, Dunstan, right.
Yeah.
Those guys were very instrumental, you know, because these guys was like clockwork, you know. Mm-hmm. Clockwork to get CK and my brother. Who don't know now, do not know now. But these guys who are Michael Jackson and our, you know what I mean? No, for real. we would play Coney Island, Goodwill, and I mean, these guys, I know I can say it. That's why I wanted to make sure.
Every now and then, when Triple K in the rehearsal in the studio, sometimes you hear Kendall saying, "Boy, I used to be under the man keyboard."
No, but this is huge, and that is why I feel the authorities, should really do something special for you guys. You guys are all alive. Yeah. And I would really hope that we can work from now to Bouyon Festival 2025.
We are so lucky and we are so blessed that all of us are still here.
Exactly.
And there's so much more that we have to do, that we should take care of. And we're not doing it. We have the time. We are alive. We have the time. But we feel, I don't know, for some reason, we just... I don't know. We need to get it together. I will say that.
But Wadix, also... In addition, musicians on their own cannot bring music to where it's supposed to be. Because what we are is basically the players of instruments, producers, composers.
But IP confirm is on. I can confirm I am on.
So that
IP already confirmed that he's willing.
Yeah.
I can confirm 360. 100% I am willing.
But
to make it happen.
But the point I'm going to make is that to take music to the next level, which is not just playing it and becoming popular by playing it, is through the involvement of other players into the music. The people that involve in marketing, the financiers, the people that can go out and do promotions, the people that can establish, the recording studios, and the influencers other than the musicians. There seems to be a void in that. So while we can come and complain, where is Dominican music heading? Where is it going? Where has it reached? The music single-handedly has helped itself, not because of any other thing. There is no, as compared to other musicians from Dominica, like the Exile ones or the Gramax, where they had that other help. They had that influence of marketing.
They had to migrate, actually.
Well, actually, the truth is they had to actually migrate.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a local help or a Dominican
but the
help.
point is the same.
No artist hardly have any superstar who stayed here and made it. If you check from Jeff and even Gaylords had to go to England.
Yeah.
Even Nasio Fountain.
Are you saying we should migrate before we get that?
No. Right now, I think we should kind of sensitize the private sector, the authorities, let us do what we have to do for what belongs to us.
Right.
Asa Mandan said something, and it was one thing I took from this morning's program. This is Dominica's biggest export. And if we just take a leaf from, let's say, what Jamaica is doing for culture and sports, we can do the same thing for our music. Get our music out there. Guys, I want to wish you all the best for Bouyon Day coming Tuesday and the event you're advocating for.
And if I'm allowed,
yes, man, you're allowed.
Bouyon Day this Tuesday, featuring 5 bands, 5 DJs. We also feature in Moxie Shervy, the junior Bouyon Monarch. What is it?
Give the little partner draft to man.
We're working on that.
Everybody Brooks.
Okay,
yeah, man.
Okay.
Yeah, man, I got on. Yeah,
yes.
And it will be held. It will be held at the factory from a Coca-Cola factory.
All right, we sign from 6 o'clock. You can get your tickets at all the ticket outlets right now, which is Bullseye Pharmacy, DPX Color Lab, and Brandsmark. If you want, you can get it online. You can go at www.ckband.com and you click on the events tab and you can get your ticket there. Or you can also click on wckband.com / Bouyon Fest, and it will be streamed also.
Apart from the Bouyon Fest jam, no dance, Lego jacket, like a party that's cool somewhere.
Yeah, man, we will be
for the festival, for the carnival.
Yeah,
for the carnival, we're doing South and Punch.
South and Punch, great.
What else we doing?
We're doing we with Pulse on Tuesday.
Okay,
and with Pulse for Juve also. Yeah,
okay,
we're doing Juve with Pulse also.
CK will be doing a Juve.
After all, Cornell, how we can be doing Juve? Juve, and all you living there without saying that. WCK will be on the streets of the capital city for Juve. You ain't not did. So we have to be out early. 3 o'clock. We're waiting for everything to happen. So guys, I really want to thank you, and I want to wish you guys all the best for Tuesday coming.
Thank
let
you.
us see if we can get some level of collaboration and Wackers like the, what would you like, Wackers?
Amalgamation.
Amalgamation. Good luck for Tuesday, guys, and thanks for coming.
Thank you very much.
And tell him Madam Hello for me,
I'll do that.
fingers. Okay. I really believe for something special as we get set for Daryl Bob and Calty. Play Din, let us hear if you can remember this one. Let's go in. Okay, we're going to play something else with our second Cornell because we're going to just allow the King Bob and Carlton Winston, but I want Cornell to hear something before we leave. And tell me if you remember that, fingers, just before you leave.
What's that?
Okay.
You like to embarrass me, boy. We.
That's how they sounded me for the Bouyon music. God bless you, fingers.
All right, thank you, man.
Okay, we have in part 2 in our star-studded Bouyon in the house. We have specials, 3 celebrities. We're expecting one more. But it's a pleasure to have Jeffrey, Tiki, Joseph, Carlton, Winston. We want to say good night to you guys. How are you? How are you? And Daryl. Bob.
How you doing, my brother?
we there.
I'm great.
I have something to say about Calty, but a little later.
Wait, Papa, don't put me on the spot.
Okay,
now, my schoolmate don't do that to me.
Wackers, we were in same class, myself, Smokey, and Carlton Winston.
And General Jacob.
We were in the room 105 SME.
Wait, Papa.
And Carlton used to have his hands. You can still do it. Some guy that used to have his hands like that. I always knew this guy was going to be a brass.
La petite la chèvre noire.
And he used to be playing a Les Eglois, it was?
La petite la chèvre noire.
Les Eglois. And the man would open his hands like this and blow a brass band. You know, guys, welcome to the Bouyon session. What we try to do is to educate the nation.
Oh, yes.
On areas, they may not know. And we're trying to really, boost up the genre itself. It is now 34 years.
Yep.
We'll start off with Calty. Calty, you have been in the music business long, even before the creation of Bouyon music.
Oh, yes.
Tell us about the creation of First Serenade and how important Serenade was to actual Bouyon music.
Well, First Serenade, the fans of DBS Radio outside there within the Caribbean and the wider world, I want to tell you welcome to DBS Radio on Wadix and Creole Heartbeat. Well, Serenade has been significant in the contribution of Bouyon music to Dominica. We started in church playing for Father Reggie. We were a church band. We used to go to church every Saturday and play. But then we had guys like Eric Badwill and Stanley Winston, and these guys contributed significantly to Bouyon music. And we did what we had to do. I must say, Wadix, thanks to you, Serenade's first big hit was Zuke Zuke. And Wadikole was instrumental in promoting that song.
My brother, I'm going to give you a little story about this one. We had Galvanized Disco. I'm not sure how many people would know. Maybe Bob might know. That is Point Michelle.
Yeah.
And knowing Calty, we were classmates. Calty brought me a song, Zuke Zuke. My brother, DOS in Point Michelle. We have that then. We have the Zuke Zuke. If we have the Zuke, let us just give our... We have the Zuke. Yeah, man. I think we have the Zuke on this. See if we can get the Zuke. Just a little taste. Because it's important so people can reminisce. Because that's before Bouyon, eh?
Yeah. Reunion 88, man.
It was Reunion 88, so that's later down in the same year.
But you'd have big up that song.
My brother, let me tell you something. And those were the days, eh?
Yep.
Do we have it? Okay, we have it.
Lovely Dominica, land of zouk and party. Hope you'll enjoy your stay down here in beautiful Dominica. Oh Dominique, oh Maho, oh Senjo, Magwabe, Sufuya.
Kalti, was that your first big hit?
Yeah, man, that was Serenade's first big hit. I wrote that song and I'm singing it. I can't sing that again.
My brother, this was a huge hit, Galvanized Disco, and these guys took this all over Dominica and made a major hit out of it. So you were saying this was your first hit. You got guys
that was
like
Serenade's
Eric
first hit,
Badwill then.
Eric Badwill came back on Rough Up the Session.
Was Archie in Zuke Zuke?
Yeah, man. Archie was the bass man. Archie was always a phenomenal, and he's gone to the great beyond. And there are times I really miss Archie, and I will say it with emotion.
I know. It was like the backbone.
Just my brother.
I know.
My comrade and my friend, my brother.
I know.
And sometimes
but those days
makes me emotional.
Those days, Kalti, as a matter of fact, Cornell admitted earlier this evening that you give them a good volley with the Beflalaji. You remember those epic?
Well, when you look at that song, Rough Up the Session, I will say something that might stir feathers and cause issues. And I can come out and I can say that I believe that Rough Up the Session was the template of Bouyon music.
You're saying so?
Because Stanley Winston, my brother, and Eric Badwill, both of them were suspended from their jobs. Stanley was suspended from mapping. Eric Badwill was suspended from the police force. And these guys used the old reel to reel, and them guys did Rough Up the Session.
Yeah. Why were they
suspended?
Boy, from there. I think mapping gave Stanley an ultimatum: is either music or mapping. Badwill had issues with the police force.
So the band got so busy, these guys.
Yeah, and these guys with the band house, they would come out to a reel to reel they got from Ken Robinson. And them guys did Rough Up the Session. I mean, you must admit that Eric Badwill contributed significantly to Bouyon music. And sometimes it is swept under the carpet. And sometimes I have to feel a way about that. I have to get emotional about that. Because Stanley, Winston, Eric Badwill, Makalulu, even Roy, doing little backup vocals. These guys contributed significantly to Bouyon music. And I can say that I believe, and boldly, that Rough Up the Session 1994, that's the template of Bouyon music.
Okay, we are not going to answer that or respond to that. But then Bob, alongside Serenade and WCK, you guys fresh from St. Mary's Academy, tell us the journey to the World Creole Music Festival. From SMA, you know, I can remember the Afro. As Afro, you had a kind of Afro, not Afro, man.
I had something that the Americans used to call it a gumby. It was Bobby Brown used to wear.
Bobby Brown, yes.
On the side, you know.
Yes,
so, yeah.
yes.
But Wadix, that journey was very interesting. I mean, that is what shaped us, you know. The good thing about it, the music was very clean at the time. And it was the right thing for students to play. So we could play at school functions, you know, we could sing, you know, we could sing along, you know, because WCK would come up with songs. If you're not playing them, you're not really playing for the people. So you had to play them, you know. So looking at Serenade, the development of Serenade on the Bouyon thing, we also remember that the bands had a kind of a tug of war going on between them, and we were kind of just in the middle of all of that, wondering what's really going on. But we grew up on these guys leading the way, and what we ended up with at the end of the day, that is very evident in the Christmas album, is the fact that the Bouyon music was what really led us to that. And you've been very instrumental in it as well.
I smile because I really remember those days.
Yes.
Man.
You know, because I just want to say the Christmas, I'm sure I'm here because of the Christmas album being a very strong Bouyon element of Dominica.
It is the biggest Christmas album in the Caribbean to my mind.
Yeah, and Wadix was a member of the group, guys. Where, as a matter of fact, the album cover, Wadix is on the album cover. So that's to show you how instrumental this man has been. So kudos to you. You know, your award from the government, to me, it's like, you know, you deserve even more than that. So The good thing we were influenced by the work of First Serenade and WCK mostly, and as I said, the music was nice and clean, and it was very musical as well. It was very interesting to listen to how Cornell played, how he created his parts, how he executed them, and that led us more and further into music, the musicology of what we have today.
And you guys started from the St. Mary's Academy?
St. Mary's Academy, yeah. Although we had another member from, we had SMA smartest man alive.
Of course, man.
Yes, Wadix, the best generation in
Who was that other
Dominica.
member, Daryl?
Say again?
Who was that other member?
Fitzroy was from that school up above Palm Grove. I try my best not to say Fly City, you know.
No, Silver Lake. Please do not.
Silver Lake.
Silver Lake.
I try my.
No, Silver Lake.
You know when you grow up with a name in your head, is that?
No,
but we must
Silver
be
Lake.
ashamed of our names, you know.
No, but
But anyhow,
Lake,
Silver Lake.
They have a proper name. And
Community High
Silver Lake
School.
Community High School.
And then you had Clayton and Mervyn that came from different areas as well. So, and every time I speak about the development of Rough and Ready and Bouyon and the Christmas, I cannot leave Mervyn out of it, because, he was really the scientist behind it. I was the talent, he was the scientist. So I can't leave him out. I wish he was here to share his views with us as well. But I also want to ask, is Ra part of that discussion at all?
Well, we had Ra on another station this morning.
Okay.
We had Ra, Isabant, and Shelly. Ra, Isabant.
Okay, that's good enough.
So we just continued the session mainly because we only had 1 hour
Wonderful.
on the other radio station. So we're giving it, every that's why we're doing it from 7 to 8, 8 to 9, 9
Wonderful.
to and whatnot. So we'll come back to you because I remember it was the summer, during the summer, and people may not know about how popular you were in Guadeloupe.
Yeah.
With a ring ting. So I want us to come back to that in a
We'll
while.
come back to that.
But Geoffrey, you wasn't an original member of TK or Triple K then, but you actually played with Ra Rhythm. So you're one of the recruits of Ra.
Right.
Tell us about that journey, and even before that, if in case you played with any other band before Ra Rhythm.
Right. Well, actually, my journey started when I created my own band.
Okay.
Back same thing. I guess young guys growing up, you're interested in music, and you have friends around also interested in music, and we had our own little band. It was called the Jan's Band. It was an acronym for Juveniles at Near Stardom.
Wow.
And then
Dean remembers this band.
Yeah, yeah, man. And then moving from that, we had a little break up in the band, whatever. So we figure, okay, we can't use the name Juveniles at Near Stardom anymore. We just change it to Juveniles. And we started performing and doing stuff like that. And I remember back in the day when, we had that band, we also had a little competition with Goodwill School Band, from which Kendall came, and Roofless Band, from which Benji came. Wow. So, but that was the young bands at the time going around, and stuff like that. And from that, I moved on to playing with Roridim back in 2001. While I was in Roridim, I also was doing gigs with Wasin Warriors and Partners in Crime at the time. So
PIK, once again, Eric Badwill featuring there again.
Very, very influential. And I must add, to what Carty was saying and so on, the influence of those guys in our music. And I would actually just sit and listen to Badwill style.
Yes.
The way he would strum, his rhythm pattern, Listen to Smokey, Sometimes I would come to an event and just sit down and just smoke and try to figure out, okay, how he get in the M1. The M1 have a tone, but he playing the M1 for a different flavor, you know what I mean? So all of those things that influence it, and move on to Roridim for some years. And then in 2004, I moved to Triple K. And the rest is history. It's just move on and to build the brand, to build a different, I would say, style of Bouyon.
Yes, which we will get because you guys have your particular brand.
Right.
And that's what I love about what you actually did is you followed the footsteps of the earlier guys. WCK had the style, RSB had the style.
Right.
And also First Serenade had the style.
Very much so.
Rough and Ready also had a particular style, which was sort of similar to how the Cadaslips bands were with Exile One and Grandmaster.
You could identify everybody.
But Calty, you guys were more of a Creole oriented, a Creole based band.
more
and you-
zouk.
well, they played more zouk, but besides that, they put a lot of
French
Creole.
connection.
Creole in all your bands. Pagome, Punom, Beflala, J.
But I
you
will
know.
tell you, Archie always like the Creole segment of the music. And I can say strongly that I mean Cornell is a phenomenal keyboard player. I think Cornell and Eric Badwell made a difference. These two guys. And you cannot forget the touch of these two guys. The competition between WCK and Full Serenade, that put Bouyon music at a strength. You can say that's the foundation of the music. I mean, like you build in a house, you put steel. You put 5/8 steel, you put half-inch steel, you're building something. And I think the contribution of both WCK and Full Serenade, that made the Bouyon music strong. I mean, right now, Geoffrey, sorry, but the foundation was set.
Yeah, man.
So when Triple K came, Signal, Rough and Ready, it was there. And I'm proud that Serenade was a significant contributor to Bouyon music.
We'll bring in somebody virtually there. Let's see if we have him. Speedy, are you there? Hey, Gaff, are you there?
Oh, Speedy.
Who's Speedy?
Okay, that's Gaff.
Yeah.
And,
Good night.
okay, are you hearing me loud and clear?
I could hear you loud and clear, yes.
Okay, and Gaff, for those who don't know, Speedy, the original bass player for TK, then Triple K.
Right. Well, the second.
Oh, your mother.
Yeah.
So, Gaff, how are things?
Everything good, man.
All
All
right.
right. You?
Okay, for now, cooked and curry. Just give us your input into the early days of Triple K and TK International, which is now TK International.
Right. So it's I happy you said that. And before I go forward with anything, I would want to say something about my good friend who just passed away, Fredina.
Yes.
Because she kind of set the tone for me as a musician at a young age when we were coming up as musicians and so on, and a lot of encouragement, and so I just wanted to pay a little respect to her as well, because really and truly she was one of the first people who ever played my bass line on the radio.
Okay.
It's something I remember from her, and that was from a Quenchy ad that we had did,
Okay.
So I just wanted to pay my little respect, so before I continue. Anyway, having said that, Triple K was not my first venture in music, really. Anyway, Geoffrey.
Hey, what's up, bro?
I don't say good night. I don't say good night to my fellow.
It was you who brought Geoffrey into Triple K.
I was going to come to that segment.
So you, Gaff, brought Geoffrey into the band.
We'll come to that. We'll come to that. Yeah. But my journey in music really started with my father. My father, who was a guitarist, who played both in Dominica and in Guadeloupe. His name is Mervyn Jemmett. I'm not sure if any one of you all have heard that name.
No.
But he played guitar, and I was always around guitar growing up. And he tried to encourage me to actually play piano. But I didn't really like piano. So he tried to get me to play guitar. And then guitar, as you know, Daryl Bob might be able to tell you, guitar is not one of the easiest instruments to play.
Fact.
So I decided that behind his back, I was playing bass with the top 4 strings instead and trying to play bass. And then really where I decided that I wanted to play bass was when I saw was what I believe in 1995, when I saw Keith with Keith used to play a Warwick Thump at the time, 4 string. And to be honest, just the look of that instrument, it just inspired me to want to play bass, to be honest, more. And then when the band were to stop, and then the kind of drive that bass had compared to guitar, the kind of presence that bass basically had in the mix, in the whole music, I just felt that I wanted to play bass instead. So then I started to play bass, and then when I moved to Fokole, with my mother at maybe 10, maybe 17 or 16 or so.
Tell us about how the Triple K connection came in.
Right. So we had this Ruthless band, and then Benji,
So
and
you
all
and
these six friends.
Benji were part of the Ruthless band.
Yeah, we actually made that band. We
Okay.
actually made that band. Me and Benji made that band. We used to do little gigs in Tarish Street and around the area and so on. With Walkers as Benji neighbor, because really WCK was always our main influence. Not like Serenade wasn't there, but we were more into the WCK style of Bouyon. So we really patterned our Ruthless on that. And then after that, Benji went on a cruise ship to play drums.
So he was Benji was a drummer then on the cruise ship.
Yes,
No,
yes.
I also Benji as a vocalist.
So Benji actually was a drummer Benji used to actually leave home to drum at a church every Sunday, a church he doesn't even go to, or he didn't even go to be
Just to
honest.
touch the
He
drums.
just went his neighbor preached at the church, I believe, and I remember clearly that Benji used to leave home in Fokole and go all the way, I believe, to Belleville Chope or Pichelay or somewhere there.
To play drums in church.
and play drums in that church and come back till in the evening. The man used to take my friend for the whole day. So so after that Benji went he got a little hookup to go to play on a ship for Carnival Cruise Lines on a contractual basis. And then he used to come back sometimes. I believe he came back in the first instance at his first 6 months or so, and then he came back at those intervals. But there was this one time he came back that I had drafted myself into this Goodwill School band, although I didn't go to Goodwill School. But Kendall had wanted a bass player or so, and then I think it was Anwar who used to play with Signal, one of them, because he was part of that band as well. And then they drafted me into that group at Goodwill School when Kendall was actually still going to school there. Then after that, they started Triple K in Loda, which was primarily really a Zouk band, compa, Zouk, that kind of thing. And then there was an issue with the bass player. Very, very shortly after they did their first album, which was Big Thing, which they did at the studios of Gordon Henderson. I believe his son Dion was there at the time.
Yeah, he was the recording engineer.
Say again?
Dion was the recording engineer.
Yes. Dion was actually the recording engineer at the time.
That's at the Wise Studios. That's where Cots had the building Castle Comfort.
Yeah, somewhere in Castle Comfort. And then after that album, there was some issue with the bass player, which I never even knew. But it was like 10 months after. It was the December of 2000 that I started to play when Kendall invited me to play with the band. And then I was actually the first person from outside of Loda to play for Triple K in 2000, at the end of 2000. And then I believe the next year, Benji came back for vacation. And then when he came back for vacation, I brought him up to Loda. I told him about the band, obviously, and then I brought him up to Loda, and then he grabbed the mic and so on, and because he was obviously singing it Ruthless, and he had that kind of vibe. So he grabbed the mic and he started to sing. And then the first thing he sang was "Log On Baby, Log On Daddy."
What?
Log On Baby.
Serious?
So that's the first thing he grabbed the mic and said, right? And then we were playing a rhythm at the time, and he was singing it against the rhythm, and then it was singing all right. And obviously, I was already a mesh with him in those days because we had really grew up in that music thing. Benji bought me my first bass guitar, to be honest. So my first bass guitar, really 5-string, came from the cruise ship. So that is the connection we had
So how many years you stayed before you actually left the band, or the band fire you, or whichever way?
What nonsense you talking about?
I just pull in your legs. I pull in your legs because that was my band. That was my band. I pull in your legs because that was my band. I really loved.
I want to make
I really loved that band.
on that.
Yes, Kalti, because I saw these guys as very young guys, Alfield, and they went to that Zouk. And they would play by the Bayfront.
Garaway Hotel.
Yeah,
I went to their jump.
Man, they used to have something, Sylvina. At the time, Leo Kazimi was the manager. And then you guys would play for the DBS Dream Team. And I mean, wherever you guys played, you mashed up the place. And you had another guy that used to be, I think he studied in Cuba together with Alfield, but he was more into the dancehall. Then
Marcus.
Yeah.
Marcus.
You're talking about Marcus. Yeah.
Right. And I recall in Guadeloupe, I brought you guys to Guadeloupe, that's in Capester. And I brought those guys to Guadeloupe. And they were playing.
But Joffrey was there?
No, I wasn't there.
No, Joffrey wasn't there yet. Joffrey wasn't there yet. Joffrey wasn't there yet. But then I brought them for Fete, Capester. And I mean, the French people were just amazed at what was happening, you know, on the road there in Capester, Fete Capester. And then they impressed Tony Valmont, the late Tony Valmont.
And that's
so much.
Patchway music class.
Tony Valmont. That's all in a while.
22 years old, you know.
That's all in a while. And Tony Valmont was so impressed, Bob, that I actually was doing something at the Fortune Hotel, I think a couple of years after. And Tony Valmont insisted that they wanted Triple K to back him up.
And I was there at that time.
He was there at that time. Instead of Freddie and the other guys, Tony
Freddie Nicholas?
Yes.
But
Freddie Nicholas were they were the house band for the Kadas All-Star. But then Tony Valmont, when he heard these guys in Guadeloupe, he insisted. And I think he came up loader to practice with you guys.
Yep.
And that's how they were sounding.
Yeah.
But then Gaff try and round up because we have a few other guests coming in to try and round off.
Wadix want to make a statement when he finish.
Okay.
No problem. You ready? Yeah. So that is how it kind of evolved in terms of Benji getting into the band and the Bouyon reaching loader in a sense. We had brought that, we had that Bouyon kind of influence from, as I told you, WCK and Keith and Cornell and like everybody else really.
Were you the one that brought in Foggy?
Well, actually, I heard that story so many times. I heard that story. I heard that coming in story in the spotlight with Fadaz. I heard it on several occasions, the same story of the bringing in. But I brought Benji into Triple K first. And then after that, I brought Joffrey from slightly after he left Rory Dem. That communication was by Digicel in town.
You remember that clip? Just like me. Yeah.
I beg him to come and because we wanted a keyboardist. And then after that, I don't want to say it that way, but I did what catch Froggy was when I told him that we were at the same age as his generation, and he should maybe step aside from swinging stars because they were kind of not in his generation. So I kind of got Froggy on board that kind of way, you know. But really, Froggy wanted something fresh and so on. So I brought Froggy on the train that way. So I think that's the three people. I can't remember who brought Lancelot, Emmy Lancelot, but that's the trip. That's the people I know for sure that I brought in. I brought to Triple K, yes.
Okay, Gaff, just want to thank you for your contribution here, and I hope that you know that who didn't know now know, and which is most important. So we try to document the history of the Bouyon music. So we just want to thank you, my brother, and God bless you in Barbados. Very interesting stuff, Bob, and that's what we try to do. But Kalti, you want to say something before I go to Bob?
Yes, I want to make a statement.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes a musician can influence you.
Yes, of course.
You have some musicians that are very good. Some guys that stand out, be it football. It can be sports too. You know, when you look at guys like Cornell, you look at guys like Badwill, you look at guys like Archie. And I can remember a year we went to Guadeloupe, man, and we were playing in a gig, and Archie had a white Steinberger. I can never forget that. And Archie was playing, and a Frenchman comes up to him and tell him, "What? I want to buy that bass." I go and get the money for you now in the ATM. It was a white Steinberg. I can never forget that. And maybe the way Archie was playing that, the guy he was finding was like, but that thing sounding good.
The shows allowing him to play like that.
Yeah, and the guy went and the guy got the money. Actually tell him, well, I can't remember the cost. We actually him about 200 euro or 300 or maybe 500 euro, whatever it was.
Whatever, yeah.
And the guy goes and he gets the money, and after the jam, the guy comes and he tells Archie, look, because he said the way you playing that is, he believed it was the bass that was playing. It was the man that was behind the bass. And after the gig, Archie tell the guy, you serious, man? The guy brought the money for Archie and tell Archie, I buy the bass from you.
But that I think is the camaraderie or what music influences. Because I have a actual personal story similar to what he explained, because back then, as I said, Kenella was with Good School Band and so on, and I was with Juvenile's Jan's band, whatever it is, and we were in competition. But then as part of the competition, Kendall influenced me one night while I was listening to his practice without even knowing. I was outside of the band house and I listened to him and I heard him play a certain pattern, and I was like, yo, I don't know if it's the keyboard that causing that. And that about 2 or 3 months after that, I went to London, and for the whole 6 weeks I was in London, I was looking for that keyboard. And when I finally got that, I was like, yes. And I come down with it and I say, yes, boy, that is the keyboard, And then coincidentally, then soon after that, I joined Triple K, and we had those 2 keyboards. Because I had mine, he had his own, and 2 of us had those keyboards in the band there. And then, we were like, I was giving him the joke about it, and then so I tell him, that thing you were playing back then, show me how you do that. The guy said, I got the keyboard and I still couldn't play it. And then he's after, he showed me what I said, okay,
Maybe realize you could do that on any other keyboard.
But that's the thing, but, at the time, you're just checking his that.
Yeah, the guy comes and the guy say, I buying that. After the gig, the guy comes and the guy say, look, the money, I come and buy that.
Bob, there was a period in the life of Rough and Ready. Mm-hmm. When you guys, really enjoyed some tremendous popularity in Guadeloupe, Kind of bring us up to that particular time, when Rough and Ready, you in particular, because you were the face of the band. And, I remember the performance where I saw, young girls at the time screaming. And virtually screaming. No, serious thing. Yeah. Bob will not tell you that because Bob is a humble fella, but I witness. I know all you do on the thing,
He was like Elvis Presley.
Jeffrey, I know you do on the thing. No, but during those days, we are not accustomed with that in Dominica,
Right.
And then to see women actually worshiping a Bouyon artist from Dominica, I really felt emotional. I was with a guy called Randolph. I'm not sure if you remember Randolph.
Vildina.
Yes, Tell us about the experience, the whole Guadeloupe experience.
Well, it was a time in my life when it was at that point I decided to do music for the rest of my life.
Okay.
I don't know if it was the best decision I took, but I think it probably was, because the reason why I tell you, at that time I was so busy making a living for myself that I realized when I look at the end of the month, the amount of money I made, it was like on par with the top end of civil servants in Dominica.
Wow.
So for me, I figured, wow, if I can do that, from my music, something I love, I might as well just continue, because it's what I put into it, I get out.
Yeah.
So that was the most important thing. Because I would be in Guadeloupe sometimes twice a week doing shows, I'd fly in and then I would fly back out. So I had a taste of like an international professional musician at the time. And like you say, the environment was, when you get there, you're well received. You go to a show, you need protection. Yeah. You sign autographs. The same thing.
This man was big, Don't lie,
London too.
I even think I saw you driving your own ride. I even think of your own ride, man. This man was big in Guadeloupe, and I was very happy because that was my backyard then, and to see Bob. And he have the Vari already. And girls virtually worshiping. And I'm talking about Bouyon music was on a particular level.
Yeah.
And it crossed all generations. Very importantly, the youth, the middle-aged, the elderly was into ring ting.
Yeah, and
seriously.
The important thing too, at the time, Barbados had something they call the Bajan Invasion, where they came together, they did a bunch of records, and then they went into America, as a group, from different groups. Allison was one of them. And that worked very well for Bajan music. But that was happening naturally with Dominica at that same time, because we had 3 hits in Guadeloupe at the time. It was Befla Laje, the ring ting ting from Rough and Ready. And WCK had Original Hold Them, I believe. No, Medway, right. Medway. So when I would go to the stores to sell our records and so on, they would ask me for those guys. But Ashton Phillip, may his soul rest in peace, was already doing business there and stuff, you know.
With Debs.
But we were ahead of everybody else, and we would get like sometimes 60 francs for one CD, 100 francs, because the CDs were selling a lot. Until the other guys came in and everything just went down to $10. But at that time, we had a Dominican invasion into Guadeloupe. And that's because of our diaspora in Guadeloupe that really supported, and they love Dominican music, you know, the calypso, the caras and everything. So that was a time when I think Dominica really made its name, began to make its name. And I hope it's continuing now, you know, now that the genre has taken
those days were glory days for you, Bob, because
absolutely.
There are two very good friends of mine. Luc Leandre, we all know about Luc Leandre, is the king of the Zouk Beton. And a guy called Christian Yeye.
Yes.
That is of Baste Bambio. Those who know Bambio. Tiki-tak, the guy actually make the music himself.
Yeah.
Now,
Christian and I, we had a long meeting just a few weeks ago.
Now, these two guys, and I mean, I'm very serious about it and honest, begged me on several occasions to get Bob to play for them, because the style of playing is something they wanted on their recording. You know, that is how much of an impact he had, and I talk about a similar impact to what the Exile and the Gramax did. You know, then Bob came with his Bouyon style. I'm Yo, what he doesn't tell you, I'm Yo. His version of I'm Yo was a big hit also in Guadeloupe.
Yeah.
You know, but when musicians are well-accomplished musicians like Luc Leandre that plays almost all instruments, and Christian Yeye can adore how the boy play and his style of playing, it says a lot for our music, Bob.
Yeah.
And Bob played a song for us as well.
He played a song for you guys. We're going to come to MTK's and Triple K's brand of Bouyon, but before that, Beflaraji also was a major hit county.
Yeah, man. I remember the year. I mean, Befla. I mean, that brought us to a resort. We played with Business. That was a segment of Kassav. Yeah, man. Beflaraji that year. Saint Lucia, Dominica, 1994. London. Beflaraji was like a big track. Yeah, it made a significant impact on the music.
Yeah, definitely. The French wouldn't call it Beflaraji. They say Beflalage.
Beflalage. They even made a version of it, Befla Jumpy.
You serious? I don't know about that.
In Martinique.
But at the time, the genre was called jump up music, right?
Jump up music those days. It was all about jump up music.
Jump up.
You also had a sort of influence on a guy, I think, from Saka Boom Boom.
Claudius Phillips, man. Sake Boom Boom.
Sake Boom Boom.
That's rough up the session. He did it in Paplimento.
Yeah. So here is Bouyon music now, you know, being taken to a different level, influencing guys who sing in Paplimento. And he made his own version of rough up the session. Geoffrey, you guys have your own style. Kendall, I must say, like I said earlier to Cornell, there is something about the keyboardist and the singer, some kind of chemistry sort of formula. Killer, like we know him, Kendall Laura, he is responsible for your sound. Tell us about your brand, your sound, and how important it is for the Bouyon music. By the way, you'll be 25 years very soon, right?
I can't remember the exact date. No, I'll feel give us the exact date because he was the one that he's our Lennox. He's our Lennox Honey Church in the band, but it's within this.
I think it's in 2025.
No, it's this year.
This year,
but it's the particular day. Because there's actual day that he had recorded on a book.
Okay.
Back in 1999. So
okay,
he have it sorted. Yeah.
So TK Triple K will be 25 years. This year.
Yeah, so we actually celebrating 25 years this year.
Absolutely.
That's
so tell us about that brand, that style of Bouyon, which has resonated. And normally, a band span is about 10 years, but you continue, and it's like you guys are not letting off. Signal is coming, but you're still, telling them wait, it's not yet, it's not your turn yet, that sort of thing. Tell us about your brand, your style of Bouyon music.
Yeah, well, I mean, as you mentioned before, Kendall's influence is very much present in everything that Triple K does. I think his creativity is something very different, and his background, the French
Creole style that the band started with is very much influential in what the band started creating. Because like everybody else at that time, the band was playing the Bouyon music that was of the day. We played the Serenade, Rough and Ready, WCK. That was part of our repertoire, and just playing that music. But then we started creating our own thing from the influence of that French influence, that Creole influence. So he would know a lot of compa leads, a lot of Kadas leads, and he would just incorporate that in the Bouyon music, and then so we started playing that, something that we actually started doing, because when you start playing music, they'll tell you, there are happy chords and there are sad chords, and most of the time you say, okay, we need to play majors because it's happy, and when we came in, we actually started playing a lot of our music in minor, to the point where right now I think most rhythm producers produce rhythms in minor, you understand, and we started doing that, but then I think the influence that he had on playing the lead parts over the minor created the happy mood that was necessary.
Minor sweet.
So it actually had that kind of element which he was very much influential on, and then he is the musical director of the band, so he actually guided the guys, at some point. Hey, let's do it that way, and to get the music going on that level. So his influence cannot be unnoticed, and it actually created an avenue for Benji and Tazi to now express themselves in a different manner. And when that time came around, what you would find happening is that the music or the lyrical content was a lot more in your face than what was previously created. A lot of the time back then, you would try to, you may have your concept of what you're saying, but you mask it in such a way that it is very palatable to everybody. But then the generations change, and people are really looking for something more in your face in terms of the younger generation. And I think that was what actually influenced them to create those kind of music. Granted, we had a lot of walls to break down because people were like, what is that? And that kind of thing there, but I think it was what the generation needed or wanted, and then it also crossed borders, because back then, the same with, as Daryl is saying, and Carty and so on, we would go to Guadeloupe, and Jadam is what they would have to escort us, I remember we went to do an event in Guadeloupe once, and inside was packed, outside was packed. There was no DJ playing. And we started, I can never forget that, Go Easy Father rhythm. Slowly, just to build it up. We maybe played about 16 bars in that, and the jam was done. And then to that point where when we left there, they took us back to our hotel and stuff like that. We went to sleep. Woke up in the morning and we were in a crowd outside chanting. And we look outside in the compound of the hotel, filled with people, just waiting to see us at least pass to go back, So there's that whole kind of euphoria around the band that the people gravitated towards, and it spread far and wide. The band actually toured extensively, has been touring extensively.
Paris seemed to be your backyard these days.
Very
right.
often. Yeah. I think the music has grown to that level where these bigger countries accept it on that level, and they actually promote it. Paris, as you're saying, is one element. But you find that happening right now in South America very much so. I think back in the Cadas era, when Liquid Ice and these guys would tour, they would spend a lot of time down there. And I found now, based on interaction with people, that a lot of interest in Bouyon music is down in that area. Canada is opening back up again, because there was once when Canada was a major market for the Bouyon. It kind of slipped Caribana weekend, but right
RSB, man, used to home.
That
was RSB. That was RSB.
RSB.
Yeah. So, and that's the sort of thing. That's the sort of impact and influence. And then you would realize right now there are bands, like there's a band in Antigua right now, Caution Band, that plays exactly like Triple K.
Yeah.
Exactly. And there are other bands and other influences that we interact with on a regular basis that will tell you straight that was their influence, that kind of music, the style that we played it and so on. And it's very remarkable that Triple K released a particular rhythm, the Clear the Way rhythm, back in 2006, late 2006 going into 2007. And up to this day, that particular rhythm is still being used as a bass beat for so many songs being produced, So it's like, look, that's how many years gone, and it still has that longevity and moving with it. So I think we I would dare say stumbled on something that was very good, you know, because in music I don't think a lot of the time it's just emotions, it's just vibe, you're just vibing and you stumble on something that works. And I think we stumbled on something that's very good, and it's just us working together to continue the brotherhood, to continue the friendship, to continue the camaraderie, you know, because I mean, in anything, I know these guys would tell you, in a band, it's not always smooth sailing.
I know.
Not just
that is ups and downs.
Yeah, man. You know, internally, externally, you have so many things to fight with. But at the end of the day, you know, we have that focus, and you know, I'm thankful to say that the core of the band has remained the core from way back. You know, you have guys like Tazi, you have guys like Alfil, Len and Tiki, you have Kendall, obviously, well, Froggy, and interestingly, I can just mention that Froggy, Brushhead, which is the bass player currently, and myself, we were all part of that same Juveniles band, that same Jan's band, you know. And just to mention, I think to educate Calty as well, he was wondering when Lancelot ever played for the band. Yeah. But Lancelot actually played with the band for a few years when Rory broke up.
Okay.
So when I joined,
Emil
Lancelot, right? So he's now the guitarist for Swinging Stars, right?
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So when I left to go to Triple K, and then Roy wasn't playing, and then we also had an issue with the guitarists at the time in Triple K. I said, hey, come through. And I think Emil kind of created one of the most memorable, most well-known guitar patterns for Triple K, which was the lead guitars on Seuss.
Okay.
So that lead guitar was created by Emil, you know. So there's a lot of nice little elements that came together at that time, and that was the time, I think, when the band actually stepped into that, if you want to call it, international platform, which obviously these things were coined by Wadix himself, you know.
Yes.
You'd come on the radio and say, yeah man, you know, this guy's got me. You drop the international at one point and say, this guy's gone global, man.
The root of carnival, man.
And all
I followed them.
yeah,
from
and
the
one of the things I also want to mention, you know, like, yes, we're talking about what the musicians experience and so on, but we always have to give credit to the people that kept on pushing the genre, and people like Wadix always been doing that, you know.
Very important, yeah.
Even when you mentioned the show Wadix, the show in Fort Young, that thing came to perform.
Tony
Valmore, right?
Valmore, yeah.
And at that show, you know, was when Wadix presented us with, he called it the musical touch.
Okay.
And he said he's passing on that touch to us.
Yeah.
Moving it from
I am seeing that show. As a matter of fact, it was my show.
Right. It was a show.
It was my show.
right.
I emceed also.
And one of the things that it actually influenced was to give us that kind of presence that, hey, you have a man like Wadix, you know, that is a staple in the entertainment industry.
Staple, boy.
Yeah. And Wadix is now recognizing that he's going to pass on that touch, you know, to us. And it gave us another boost of energy, you know. It gave us that boost to really say, yo, we have now the eyes of the people on us. We have to promote, we have to support, you know. And it really gave us that different edge, to the point where Benji actually made a song about it, you know. We have the touch, you know, that kind of thing there. So it's a lot of, back then it was a lot of us working together as a team, you know. And I mean, even our first experience on the road was afforded to us by First Serenade. Back in the day, 2005, I think it was. We did Carnival for a certain segment of the troupe.
Yeah, we put them on our truck.
Yeah, we were on Serenade's truck, and I think that was the band's first experience on the road, you know. So
we have to help one another.
Yeah, that's the thing, you know. So it was a whole.
Bob, if you notice what's happening there, is a lot of the passing of the touch.
Yeah.
Which is critical.
Yeah, man.
But for somewhere, you know, we seem to allow our egos to be, you know, playing some funny roles on us.
For growth and development.
Yes, but my producer just told me we have 5 more minutes. But I must touch on that because, Jeffrey, I have to ask you about what's taking place this year.
Right.
But I want to bring the minds of both Bob and Carlton to the early years of the World Creole Music Festival.
Okay.
Bob, there was a particular performance. I mean, people were asking, I can't remember what year exactly. But I was at the front with Joe Cam, and you know, people were just asking for more of Rough and Ready. I'm not sure if you remember what year that was. But when you guys finished, people wanted more.
We want more.
Likewise, Serenade, you know, a few years later after that, people want more of Serenade. Yeah. It's like, and I mean, it's a wonderful feeling, international bands, both before and after. Yeah. And then, you know, we have a diverse audience. French and returning Dominicans, Caribbean nationals, international, and people want more.
Yeah.
Rough and Ready do. I mean, talking about the early years of the festival, and people. What you can remember what year that was, Bob?
That's either 99,
Real early,
98
man.
or 99, because it was the first year after we released the Christmas album.
Right.
So if you remember the year of the Christmas
Yes,
album,
99.
Right.
99.
So it was directly after that. The thing is, what we did was we felt as if the festival was too cold. Like you had Kassav come in and do all their musicianship thing on stage and all the other groups, and they wasn't giving enough of Dominican kind of vibes, that rough kind of thing. So we decided, you know what, we're going to come and just mash up the session. We'll play our music, we'll start off nice, and then we'll end up in our rough Dominican style. And another thing that was missing too was we felt that the bands were not attired like to look international on stage. So we made costumes, white and gold. So the music and the way we looked just created a beautiful impact. Then Serenade came the following year and just took that to another level again.
And what was, and we're talking about passing the touch, and you can actually see what happened.
Yeah, the
Geoffrey and
transition.
them saw what took place
Yes,
then.
transition.
They
Yeah.
then took the festival like seriously show business.
Yep.
So when you see Triple K, you see Signal, you see even Issa now, you're actually seeing a show, a spectacle. I remember Serenade playing at the Newtown Savannah, the NCC You Could Dance, and they came in, they followed them Madras, and you start to see Dominican bands, while the other bands we pay big money, coming ordinary vests. And,
Yes,
but
that's
then,
true.
But then the images after, you see our bands, well polished. Bob, I want to really thank you because we have a few other giants coming in there, and we want to.
I want to make two statements before I go.
No problem, but let's start with Bob first and then give you a statement.
But I'm just happy there is a Bouyon season, and I want more musicians to get involved in Bouyon so that all the complaints about Bouyon, we can take it to another level. It's because other people are not getting involved. So these guys are leading the way, but so that's what I want to say basically. And the work that you're doing with Bouyon Wadix, I mean, I cannot imagine where Bouyon would have been without your input. So God bless you.
Yeah, thank you very much, my brother Carlton Winston, and then with Jeffrey.
Two things, yeah. The early days of the festival, I mean, Serenade used to play and do what we had to do. I mean, there was a time I remember we played directly after Kassav. And when we went in, the French guy, the engineer, he had his whole mixer board. And he goes to us, Stanley, my brother, goes to him, can I use your mix? And he has a cigarette. He said, c'est pas problème. Trumpet into trumpet, trombone into trombone, guitar into guitar, bass into bass, keyboard. Same mix. Yeah. Years after you're asking people to do that and they cannot understand that.
I know.
Point number 2, the route change of the carnival route in Roseau. Serenade was instrumental in doing that. Because we used to enter into Roseau.
Old street.
Yeah, man. We used to enter by Gabriel, the old street. And there's a truck driver called, from the port, Spacey. When the truck used to reach there by Patty Shack, the driver have to get down and let Spacey drive the truck into the hole there. And then I went to police headquarters and I said, that is a problem. And we changed the route to go at the back of Royal Bank. Right. Then the third day we tell them, no, we want to go on the bay front. So the route of carnival in Roseau was changed significantly
by the first Serenade
to enter by
band.
Cocorico.
Yes.
So we made our contribution to the music in Dominica.
Thank you.
I think it's not the best. Well, you all passing now on the Bayfront.
Yeah, Bayfront. Yeah.
Years gone by, and I mean,
you can't change that now.
It used to be Old Street. No, you can't go back to Old Street.
I can say that there was a year we were going to go on the Bayfront, and police come and knock me and tell me, don't pass there. They send me to arrest you.
I know. I remember those days.
You cannot pass there. They send me to arrest you. So the route of carnival in Roseau was changed by Serenade.
Right.
Geoffrey, you guys have a packed program as usual.
Thanks to me, eh?
Yes.
You have a packed program as usual, and you also have your band on the road. Tell us about that before we say bye-bye.
I mean, the carnival season is here. It's on. And we're really grateful for having a season that is filled with activity. We've been doing a lot of the village carnivals, and we have quite a few shows lined up as well. And we have our signature event for Carnival, which is Mega Monday, and we're celebrating our 25th year. The theme this year is Prismatic,
And I must say the support has been overwhelming. Essentially, we basically sold out. So, you know, we really ready to give the patrons an event like an experience like none other. And the rest of the year is actually looking very, very, very productive, very promising.
Let's get out.
We have quite a few we have quite a few events, tours, and so on. So things are looking very good for 25 years after.
I want to wish you guys happy Bouyon Day.
Yeah.
It will be on Tuesday. Yeah. And I'll be at the venue, the Coca-Cola venue.
Right,
just
right.
to support the vibes.
Of course.
And a fruitful carnival, peaceful carnival.
Yeah.
And as usual, do what you do. And I know next week, Saturday, Bob, the grand finals.
Yes.
I haven't heard your second song as
but
yet.
Now you'll hear it on the weekend.
I will have it to play tomorrow.
Of course.
Tomorrow.
Well, I'm not sure about tomorrow, but I'm working on your Wadix. Mascam is on tonight.
I always bother him. Mascam is on tonight.
Mascam is on tonight at Soufriere.
Oh, well.
Right, so Jean Soufriere, Nuka Vinikoteka Iwaswea.
I will end up here.
And then tomorrow night, you know, we're down on the port with the Clash of the Tent. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much, guys. And see you and God bless. We also have Gaff. Gaff, we just want to say thank you very much, Gaff.
Yeah. So, thanks for having me. I didn't realize I was still on, but
yeah, you are. That's why we wanted to say. I see you were so engulfed into the conversation, listening. So we want to thank you for your contribution and
yeah, and I want to thank you for having me and making me feel acknowledging that I am actually part of the bringing up of Bouyon music as well.
Absolutely, it's important that we do that, man.
I'm happy for that.
So you are in Barbados presently?
Presently, yes.
Okay, well, we just want to wish you a happy new year and may God bless you and take it easy. Okay, my brother?
Yeah, boss.
Okay, right, so we were speaking to Gaff and also Carlton Winston. And Carlton Winston, also Geoffrey of Triple K. We are getting set for the final session, and we have another heavyweight, a few heavyweight guests with us as we get set for them. Dada Lawrence. We also have Val Coffey, and we also have Emil D. Puta as we actually get set for the final session of our open house, Bouyon Day. As we say good evening to Dada, kau fetimal. Ala kachipi sako tu bite bien. Emil, Milo, D. Puta, what's up?
I'm great.
Where's the Deacon? He has
He's
arrived.
right there. He's right there. He's blessing somebody outside.
Okay, yes, we'll allow him to bless our last session. So I'm waiting on him to bless our last session. I know he is possibly getting himself set. But then, guys, I really want to thank you for the opportunity this evening. You guys have been movers and shakers. Have been doing so much for the industry. And I'm really, really happy that you can actually... Okay, the Deacon is here now.
Yeah.
As we welcome the Deacon. Good evening, Deacon. Welcome to our special open house, Bouyon. Those days we don't use headphone on the set, Val. We don't use headphone on the set. We pass that stage.
Okay.
Yeah. DBS, upgrade now.
Yeah.
So the Deacon Coffee will allow you to bless our little discussion here. So we'll allow you to start and bless our little discussion.
Well, I just want to correct you. I'm not Deacon yet. I'm in Deacon Information.
Okay, Deacon Information.
Yes.
So Deacon Informer then.
Father God, we want to give you praise and thanks for this opportunity to speak to the people about the music of Dominica, to see how best we can improve and grow. We thank you for the many talents that you have bestowed upon our nation. We pray for the repose of the souls of those who have gone before. We pray that those who remain will continue to grow, not only in the musical talent, but the spiritual upliftment as well. Bless this program, help us to at least convince people to understand that they need to support what is cultural and what is musical in our country. In Jesus' name we pray.
Amen.
Amen. Guys, I want to welcome you with open arms to our little chit-chat. We may be joined by Carl Kofi James and possibly Jeffrey Joseph of Effects, RSB, sort of inter-reason with them as to their contribution on Bouyon music. As we celebrate 34 years, by the way, 34 years of Bouyon music, I mean, how fast time has passed. Let us start off with Milo. You are very fortunate to be one of the main managers behind two major institutions, that's WCK and also the Triple K. And for the record, when you became manager, you actually took those bands to a completely different level. how important, even before we go to how the experience was, how important is a management structure, and we can lend the support data also to Val for a band. We see now it has worked for both Triple K and also WC, and it is now working for Signal. But how important is the management structure for a band?
Well, Wadix, that's one of the most important things that you need in any sort of business, and the band is a business like anything else. You have so many guys, like you have about 10 guys, and everybody would want to make their own decisions. Everybody would want to do their own thing. Everybody has their egos and that sort of thing. And then the manager is the person who would, basically bring everything together, right? And channel stuff in the right way. One of the things that I can tell you most of me being a manager, and maybe Val can attest to that, is that you are the one that gets the most blows. You are the ones that people hate the most. And up to this day, so many people hate me or dislike me because of decisions that I had to make on the band's behalf. But I would take all the blows, I would take all the blame. And I didn't have any problems doing it because I knew where I wanted to see these bands go, right? Triple K is a classic example. I heard you all a little while ago, speaking about, playing at certain places and that sort of thing. And then when I came in, that's one of the first things that I changed, because the band, for example, would have to be renting equipment, right? At the time when I came into Triple K was actually renting equipment from First Serenade, from Stanley. And renting equipment, paying a bus to come down from Loda, setting up the equipment and that sort of thing. And the place would be full, packed with people, but the amount that the guys were getting didn't make any sense. They were not making anything out of it because the money was going into paying the bus and paying the equipment and that sort of thing. But they're happy because the place is full, and then they have all the chicks and so on, checking them out. But that's not business, right? So right away I had to come in and say, look, this just cannot continue. And I had to bring up the price, which was about 4 times what the people were paying at the time for it to make sense. And the people actually told me I was a wicked man. Right? But, and then they I don't think they ever spoke to me again, after that. But it's something that I had to deal with. And that is just how it is. So that is where management really comes in, right? Similarly with WCK, when I came into WCK was paying their way to go up to New York and sleeping by families, sleeping by friends, sleeping in basements, buying their own food and that sort of thing. And then I had to say, moving forward, you're now going to have to pay for the band to come up. And that didn't go down well with the promoters at all. So you have to pay. You have to pay for the band to come. The band cannot come up on their own will. You have to pay for also the band's accommodation. You have to pay for the band's meals from the time they leave their home. So these things, it didn't go down too well at all. And I was willing to be the boogeyman, the villain, as Dada just said, and that wasn't a problem for me, and that still is not a problem for me, because you have to make those kind of decisions.
Absolutely. Val, you yourself have been manager of several bands, even WCK yourself, Bouyon Pioneers, Calin to a certain extent. And the most important part, you have actually managed the entire musical arena in Dominica. You would have to be dealing with several bands. How important is the management structure of a band?
It is very important, and one of the things that sadly in Dominica, we look at the music industry as a hobby and not a professional engagement. And even the fans and even some of the sponsors believe that it's a little side job and it's so professional. And for you to really make it professional, we have seen people like Gordon Henderson, the late Jeff Joe, Nasir Fontaine take their talents overseas and then blossom in the international community. And that is what we have to set the platform on. And Emily is right. A lot of the bands had been shortchanged over the years. We have had some terrible experiences, and especially in the diaspora, people expect you to come up under less uncomfortable circumstances. Travel in classes that are not conducive to some guys, put them up in places that are not conducive to them, even where they would stay at their home. So we have had to fight that challenge. We have had situations that people bring your band up and the hotel's promise is not there, the meal plans are not in place, the sound equipment is not proper. I'm saying that it is something that we have to look at. The Dominican music is growing. And that I can attest to the fact that when you deal with the Trinidadians, the Bajans, the Jamaicans, even on my level when I was at the Festivals Commission, there's no two ways about it. You have to respect the person's rider, respect the person's contract, their per diems and stuff like that. And I think a manager has to ensure that everything is duty bound, that is got to be delivered for the artist. Because at the end of the day, they trust you to make sure that they can have that reserve. Because guys are getting older in the music industry. As you can see, besides my bald head, all of us here are getting gray, So it's nothing about you going to be on the stage forever. So it's important that you find some niche opportunity that can really blossom, and I like what Dada has done, and recognize his great talent and being able to shift the focus. And, even Daryl that you had earlier on, has really been a professional musician, being able to serve. And that's what we need, people to be committed and to don't undercut, like how the bus drivers do in tourism where they take a less amount just to take the trip. That's what
the bottom.
Yes, so we need to stop that and be able to refocus and realign ourselves towards the ultimate achievement of a real sound professional musical career for all musicians in Dominique.
Excellent. Dada, on the other side, you have accomplished so much in a short space of time.
Yeah.
But it wasn't tough. It was very tough going from the beginning.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as you said, it was very tough, especially coming in from a background where you had to be everything. You had to work hard for it. You understand what I'm saying? My situation growing up wasn't the worst or whatever, but it wasn't also a situation where everything was easy. So there was a lot of bootstrapping your way, as they say, to the top or whatever. But along the way, it teach me a lot. It teach me to value things. It teach me the importance of time. How to value time and value people. You understand? Because along the way, you learn a lot of lessons. And because I never had no formal education as it relates to music and music business and all those kind of things. It was just a passion of mine, and my ability to pay attention and to learn on the fly, be flexible. As Bruce Lee say, be formless like water. You understand? So any situation that I end up in, I know how to adjust myself and and dominate, because I like to win. You understand? So I like to compete. But most of all, I like to compete. It doesn't mean I will win every time, but my attitude is always one where I come in to try to do the best and all that kind of thing. So in terms of that, I was able to grow in the Bouyon first and foremost. Having been influenced by all of the guys that were there, the WCK, Serenade, and Bob and them, Rough and Ready and everybody. But more so, my thing was a WCK kind of thing. I always used to see myself as a product of WCK, literally. You understand? So I pride myself and used to practice a lot WCK music, but I didn't want to just replicate what I was hearing. I wanted to be able to to use that as a platform to build. You understand? So when I started working with Triple K, I don't know if you remember that when like in times like 2006, 2007, when Triple K started to sing songs like Sorty
Respect Dada boy.
Sorty Desan. You got your big up. You got your big up in the song.
Yeah.
Were you part of Dominica, nigga?
No, that was before.
That was before.
When I come in, Triple K song changed completely.
Yeah, Sorty Desan, yes.
Yeah, because I brought in a new kind of sound into that with the CK. It's like a WCK hybrid kind of thing. Back in and a group that need to get a lot of recognition as it relates to modernizing the sound of Bouyon, even for what it is today, is Bush Town Clan.
Yes.
You understand? Because
yes,
I can tell you straight up and down that my thing was WCK/Bush Town DJ Cut.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? That those are my influences majorly, and then
they used to call that Reketeng.
Reketeng, right. Yes, that was the thing, yeah.
Right. So I wanted to, so I kind of injected that kind of that essence into Triple K, and then, I mean, I saw what it did for Triple K, and fast forward, after that I, work with multiple people to the point where I realized that I needed more, and I started to pursue, elsewhere in the Caribbean and stuff like that, and, a lot of things happened from there, Again, it wasn't easy. But you learn because everywhere does perceive the music differently. You understand what I'm saying? And then, so again, me being formless like water, was able to use what I have and apply it to the other islands that I went to, and had a lot of success in the region.
Val, when you look at Bouyon music now, I mean, what is your opinion? Over the 34-year history, you would have been, involved in some way or the other throughout the entire history of the genre. When you look at the genre now, what goes to your mind? How it resonates with you presently?
Lost opportunity.
Facts.
We had an opportunity to control the entire Caribbean continent, Caribbean space. That was ours to be part of. We have to see what the musical giants like Marshall and the others have done in terms of the influences. Skinny Fabulous. Everything is coming out of the Bouyon, and we have to look at what Asa Banton has achieved as a solo artist. He has done exactly what This Is Jeff Joe, what Gordon Henderson, what Nasir Fong did. You have to take your talents overseas and be able to be marketable, and that is what we need. Triple K has done that. We have to look at Signal coming up, but there is a sadness because after 34 years. We still have this bickering and this fighting and this misunderstanding. Guys are getting older and they are still not talking to each other. Yep. Guys are getting older and they're still not finding love in their heart to forgive each other. Yeah. We can never be perfect. I mean, Emil and I have had our differences, and Dada and I have our differences. But at the end of the day, if they had come together 34 years in this thing and focused and realized the bigger picture, we have grandchildren, we have young children, and make it into an industry, we should not be where we are. The other challenge that Dominica has faced is that we move from Kadas music into Bouyon music. Every genre has had that movement, reggae into dancehall. You see what has happened if pop and other types of musical genres that have been exposed around the world. What we needed to do was to be able to really market that opportunity in the best way we can. We have to take some blame as well as a country, as a government. I think we have not done enough, to ensure that the musical landscape is bathed with the creativity that's in Dominica. I mean, I remember the early days and American Burning Flames. If Burning Flames was leaving Antigua, it was as if the ambassadors of Antigua were leaving Antigua. If they were late for the plane had to wait for them. Mm-hmm. In Dominica, we have no respect for that. If you're doing a show, even at the festival's office, there was a great fight. I remember the year when Nasir Fontaine performed, and we paid him $30,000, which I think he deserved even much more. There was an uproar. The late Jeff Joe, when he got paid very well, there was an uproar because they felt that they were local artists.
An uproar by who, Val?
The upper echelon of management, So I'm saying when we start to show respect as we do to the foreign artists, when we start to show that respect to our local artists who are climbing the ladder of success, then they'll see the growth of the industry. We need to package the music better. Stop talking and using the talents of young people. And people are getting so engrossed with just, this one, and this one appetite, one beat, one steady daily dose of the same thing over and over again, and we're not growing, we're not pulling back to see how we can be creative. If you look at what Dada is doing with his guys, every year there's something different coming out of Dada Studio. That's what we need. We don't need to try and understand what he's trying to say. I like what Asa is doing. I like what Shelley is doing. And Triple K brings in something sometimes. It's another young band in a core.
In
okay?
a core unit.
In a core unit. They're starting to get a little vibes, you know, but there isn't much. Disappointing for me, there's no Kadas music really. I mean, besides, every time you say Kadas, everybody goes straight to Midnight Groovers. Somebody needs to step up and to bring everything back to reality and to be well balanced.
Emil, you have managed 2 bands, you have observed what's taking place. You normally have several conflicts with your partner, Vico, who was once a WCK fan and then a Triple K fan and now a Signal fan. But the most important thing is you have seen it all throughout the entire life of the genre. Where do you see the music presently?
Well, you know, I have to agree with Val, you know, in terms of the disappointment, because I think the artists could be a lot further than they are. I'm not saying that they are not far, because you have to be so careful when you speak, right, about the music and so on. It's like walking on eggshells, because everybody wants to take offense to everything.
Are we too thin-skinned?
Yes, we definitely are.
Not taking responsibility for our faults.
You know, we definitely are. And it's really unfortunate because everybody could be so much further. And then I have to single out Asa Bantan, right? I must single out Asa Bantan, because if everybody would just take an example from Asa, you don't see Asa fighting or bickering with anybody, right? You don't. You just see Asa moving and moving and moving. And then the WCKs, the Triple Ks, the Signal, and all of them are good. Even all of the guys, you know, coming up right now with the nasty business and everything else, you know, they're good. But Asa is just like he just put on his afterburners and he's just going. And one of the most important things with Asa is that he's focused, right? He doesn't, you don't hear of him fighting or bickering with anybody else, because this one has to throw me for that one and that one has to throw me for this one and so on. And then I try to stay away from all of these talks and arguments. I try to stay away from the talk of nasty business, because somebody will throw me for me and say, oh, but you was there with Triple K and they were singing Seuss and all those things, you know, which I had my little things with. People will say, oh, but you were with WCK and WCK didn't want to play with Serenade, or you were with Triple K and Triple K didn't want to play with WCK and different things like that. But they do not know what was going on in the background, right? They don't know what was going on in the background, and a lot was going on in the background in terms of moving away from that sort of thing, right? And I have seen guys, because maybe I am friendly with one band or one artist or so, not even want to speak to me. Wow. You know,
this is not nice.
Not even want to speak to me. I would extend my hand to try to shake my hands right now, that I am not even in that business anymore.
That happens now. I mean, as we speak.
No.
Wow.
Right?
This
because you figure that I am with these people there, so don't have anything to do with me, and that is what is keeping us back. That is what is keeping us back. The rivalry. There should be none of that. I absolutely love Signal Band and their music. I love Shelly, right? And I think he is what Bouyon music needed, right? To go that extra mile. So I have absolutely no problem with him. And then I absolutely love the guys from Triple K still, you know? Even if people thought that Still Standing was for me and so on, and they were throwing a talk for me, and then they make a song for Emil and that sort of thing. I love them guys, because you see that chemistry with Triple K? That chemistry with Triple K is something that will just continue to make them guys go on and on and on. And they may have their up times and their down times and whatever it is, but the chemistry, you cannot take that away from them.
Absolutely.
The chemistry also that was there with WCK and Geoffrey was just speaking about it a while ago with Smokey, right? Many people wouldn't agree with me or wouldn't understand, but Smokey was that key gel in that band because of his strumming on that keyboard. That would give that band that groove, right? But Smokey was in the background, so nobody was really checking him, right? But you see that strumming of that keyboard that Smokey was doing, that is the chemistry. And when Smokey left, then it lost it. And the same thing with Triple K. Anytime Geoffrey leaves Triple K will not survive a year. And I'm sure the guys are listening to me now.
That's a bold statement.
Yeah, anytime Geoffrey Joseph, right? Not Kendall, not Benji. Anytime Geoffrey Joseph leaves Triple K, that is it for Triple K.
Okay. We have Jeffrey Alexander standing by. But before we go to Jeffrey, Dada, you have played Bouyon, you have produced Bouyon, you have also done quite a bit of soca music. Where is Bouyon that competitive out there? I mean, you talk to the movers and shakers in the Caribbean music industry. Is Bouyon music, as we speak, I mean, as competitive as it should be out there?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Bouyon is the number one music in the Caribbean as it relates to jump up, high, fast pace Caribbean music. Bouyon is number one. Bouyon has been number one for the past 5-6 years. Bouyon has been number one. Everybody is taking a page out of the Bouyon book right now. This is something that I have prophesied long ago, over a decade. As a matter of fact, I was first to coin the term Bouyon Soca back in 2012, trying to show the environment, the music environment, the community in Dominica that Dominica have some issues when it comes to the music. When it comes to artistry, that's not Dominica. I mean, besides the Jeffs and all of the the icons of Kada Slipso, and then Ra, Bob, and I think that's it. Bouyon hasn't really produced a top tier vocalist or an artist. Well, now with Asa Bantan create his own niche, but let's put Asa Bantan aside, right? So Bouyon, the band culture in Dominica, the bands were not top in vocals and those kind of things. You understand? At the end of the day, you have to sing the songs.
Is that a weakness of the genre?
Oh
the
vocals? That is the major. That's the biggest problem Bouyon have is the artists or the singers. You understand what I'm saying? And then that is why I used to be trying to tell guys that we cannot just make great artists overnight. You understand? But when it comes to the music aspect of it, the rhythm, we have that. You understand what I'm saying? Dominica has the rhythm, and just like Jamaica has reggae, we are the only ones that can authenticate Bouyon. You can make a reggae anywhere you want in the world, but unless it pass through Jamaica, it's not reggae that you're gonna sound like it's missing something. You understand? So this is what that has been the Achilles heel of Bouyon over the years, and I tell them the moment Trinidad and those Barbados and those places where you have to have the total package. You understand? Especially vocals. You understand? Catch on to the Bouyon. It's gonna change Bouyon forever, which is what happened with Family. You understand? I remember when Family had just came out and mashed on the place and whatever. I did an interview with Cecil, and right here in the DBS, and then he asked me, how can we produce a song like that in Dominica? You understand? I was very candid and honest. I'm a creator of this. Just like when you go to the doctor, right? And the doctor, you go and do your general checkup or whatever, the doctor tell you, what, everything good, but you have a little, your cholesterol or whatever it is the case. They have to tell you what the truth is, and then you have to try to address it. You understand what I'm saying? That is my that is my position in this business. I'm like a doctor, so I have to tell the artists and them or the public.
Diagnose.
We have to diagnose it. And I tell them, Dominica could not make a song like Family. You understand what I'm saying?
Why you say that?
Because of the caliber of artists that was on the song. You have Bunji Garlin, who's the best at what he does. You have Marsha Montano, who's the best at what he does. You have Skinny Fabulous, who's the best at what he does. And exactly the area where I used to be telling people about that Dominica is the best at what it does is rhythm, which is what I am the best of in Dominica.
Rhythm.
Yeah, I'm the
not
best.
Not vocals.
Yeah, because you see, to the best always works with the best. You understand why I say? Look at football. Real Madrid, they get the best players. And basketball is the same thing. Everything, you get the best of the best. You put the best together, you're going to get the best product. You understand? So that song was a combination of the best of everything at the time that come in and did that kind of damage. You understand what I'm saying? And that's how the formula of music works. I was telling somebody the other day that for me right now, it's a science. Music is a science. For me now, it's more than just a talent thing. Talent, everybody has talent, but can you make it work? You understand what I'm saying? So it's more so from a science perspective. We lacking severely in the artist department. You see the frontman kind of thing. We in image, our artists and them don't. How many artists can you say is an artist in Dominic? They don't look like artists on a stage. I mean, if you look at CK back in the day, when CK used to be playing, he used to put off light on the stage, you know. You understand what I'm saying? So that's what they're saying. You understand? So that is why it's not really a part of us. But when it comes to the rhythm, like what Emily was talking about, the rhythm. You see, what Geoffrey playing is rhythm. What Smokey is playing is rhythm. You understand? Even when I making those, I'm making my songs, or even when I do calypsos and Bouyon, for local Bouyon, Dominican Bouyon, I have to make sure I put the rhythm inside of there because that is the signature, that's the bed. You understand? And so the rhythm is where we are strong. But as it relates to its competitive nature outside there, I think Bouyon is on top, but Dominicans is not on top.
Val, I want to, when we come back, let's see if we can say hello to Jeffrey and talk about effects for a little while. But Val, when we come back, I want you to address that. And also, you and Emil, how we can get Bouyon musicians to be financially secured. You know, how can we assist them? Let's see if we can get Jeffrey Alexander in Toronto. Good evening, my brother. Are you hearing me, Jeffrey? Okay, we don't seem to be getting Jeffrey. Are you hearing me loud and clear, Jeffrey? Okay, unmute your system. Nothing. Okay, let us see if we can get our technician to get Jeffrey in. But while we're waiting to get Jeffrey on, Val, showmanship, frontmen singing, a serious deficiency.
The thing is, you cannot be a chef if you never learn how to cook. And Bouyon is a music that calls for you to understand the elements that you're putting in. Same thing with calypso, same thing with soca. If you want to be a master of ceremony, there's something about being on stage and able to communicate with your audience. And it calls for a certain amount of training and understanding of who you are. And the amount of hours you put in, it's like a pilot. The amount of hours you put in, they move you from one plane to the next. Our artists are comfortable playing small gigs, not working out. Guys don't train. Guys don't eat well. Guys don't sleep well. And the other thing too, I believe that you have a manager, but you must be the CEO. You must be the chief executive officer of your life. Once you become the CEO of your life, then you can be able to function within the management structure that is available for you and your band. So a lot of guys decide, okay, well, Emin and Val is the manager, so they will have to get me food to eat, they'll get me clothes. They do absolutely nothing. Asa Banton has shown us that he's the CEO, even if Tilly makes bookings or whatever, but he's the CEO. He will decide if I can go left, if I can go right. You know, Triple K is a band, but you have a manager who plays an integral part of what's going on. And I want to big them up because they have been able to stay together. You know, they have not been able. The other bands, even including the Great Swinging Stars, you have seen the turnover of musicians within those bands. Triple K have stayed together from their core. You know, so we need to find ways, and Dada can probably assist that because he's dealing with a lot of the big artists, mainstream artists. We need to find ways to be able to train our musicians, train our acts to be able to step up to the big plate. I mean, Marshall Montano is showing us clearly, vividly, at his age, that he is the king of soca, and he's telling you what calypso, what has evolved. And now he's in the semi-finals of the calypso competition in Trinidad and Tobago. I'm taking a whole year from performing soca, I'm going to look at calypso. How many Bouyon artists, besides Trilogy in the last year, have decided, let me try the calypso. Let me see how I can get into it.
Skinny.
Right?
That is Shadow Flow.
But Shadow Flow, yet again, is a pilot, not putting the amount of work that is needed to rise to the top. Okay, Dice came in as from Clockers
and
WCK, but was able to put in the work with a good writer and being a natural performer and become a 9-time king. Okay, so you need to find ways of reinventing yourself. So like when I was performing, whenever Dada produced a song for me, what I did in the studio, in terms of how I deliver the song in the studio, is you're going to get that energy when I come live. A lot of guys are very good at producing music in the studio. When you put them on stage, you get stage fright. Wow. They're not the same persons. You have to be able to communicate. You have to be able to sing your song, to be able to feel. I mean, when Marshall Montano tells you to put your hand in the air, he means to put your hand here. He didn't tell you to go to the bar. You have artists in Dominica telling you put your hands in the air, and people just turn their back on them. Yeah. Right? So we are not working hard enough. And I admire Shelly. Shelly could be working for a top 10 corporation anywhere in the world, but he has a talent skill, and he's putting in the work, and it is visible. And if you look at the people around him, right, if they don't put in the work, he's going to outgrow Signal, and get a bigger signal elsewhere.
But you see, that's important what Val is saying. They're putting in the work.
Yeah.
Because if you look at, let's stray away from Bouyon for a little bit. But if you look at any of those big artists out there, for instance, Michael Jackson, you'd see the amount of time that this man spent in a studio. He lived, eat, sleep, music. Same thing with Marshall Montano.
These guys are perfectionists.
And that's exactly what I was going to say. They're perfectionists. And what do you mean by being a perfectionist? You're not just going to let out a song because you want to let go a song. And I will say boldly, that is one of the problems that I had with the guys at Triple K, is the excitement of just releasing something. And I would say, but guys, like that already yet to come out. It missing a lot. It need to stay in and cook a little bit still. Right? So Val brought up a serious point, putting in the work. Right? And then maybe we are a little too excited to see the people jumping up in front of us. Maybe we are a little too excited to get that rhythm out and so on, but put in a little more work, put in a little more effort into it, and then it will grow. It will go further. I don't know where, again, I sorry I have to mention his name so much, but I don't know where Asa works his magic, but I mean, this man comes out with a song, and even the weight of that song, whatever studio that he uses and so on, but the weight is a lot more weighty than the other songs that come out, right? The songs comes out like little tin pan sort of, And when you put on an Asa song compared to their songs, it's like the whole song system just comes alive.
Yeah. Very, very, very critical Dada sound quality when you compare.
Yeah.
The sound of Dominica, in particular, or Bouyon music, to let's say TNT, which is possibly our main competitor of a similar genre.
Yeah. Boy, you see, it's a very interesting conversation, and I wish people would take some notes tonight. In terms of sound quality, in Dominique, it's same thing. Emil, I can jump on, to add to what Emil was just saying about the songs needed to cook more in the studio. A lot of the guys and them, when they make their songs, they make these songs for live. You understand? They make these songs for the people in front of them in the crowd, for the crews. You understand? So this have nothing to do with the music and selling music and the industrial aspect of music. In Dominica, unfortunately, Dominican society doesn't have the industrial side of music. You have a band, you have a place you can play, and that's about it. If you look at the radios, before in the radio stations, a radio still functions that way. You have program directors, and then you have radio announcers, and the whole structure of a radio station. You bring your music in, you get your music on the radio, you submit it to the radio station, they bring it, the program director have to take it, they have to, assess the music to ensure that everything matches standard so that it could play on the radio and it doesn't make the radio sound a certain type of way. You understand what I'm saying?
And I'm happy you brought that up, and I'm going to use the French template, in particular RCI.
Right.
No matter how much you are paying RCI, if your advert is not of a particular quality, it's not going to play.
It can't play.
True.
And because of the reason for that is because they are graded. Radio stations are graded in Guadeloupe, and you always want to be number one.
Right.
And RCI, sort of controls over 60% of the population, and we're talking about half a million, already. So they prefer lose that money, or you upgrade your quality of whatever is going to play on their system.
That's true.
Gone are the days for them that a DJ come and play what he want, and somebody may underpay. A program director selects the songs for you.
Yeah.
And then they make sure every song is rotated. Let's say it's a Calypso season, every single Calypso will get equal play.
Yeah.
Let's say it's the Bouyon season, every Bouyon song will get equal play. It has advantages, and for DJs it might be a disadvantage. But that is how competitive radio operates.
Well, you see, the thing is, I'm glad you mentioned that, because I was about to get to that. A radio station is not for a DJ. A DJ is for a club. You understand? And that is the kind of culture they bring in nowadays, where we have DJs on radio thinking they're playing by a bar. You understand? When they're playing their friend's song. That is the nonsense that happening in the music. Why Dominica music back to front like that? Even if you look what happening, right? That really depressed the music in Dominica, you understand? Because, like I said, I am like a doctor. I deal with all the art. I have worked with everybody in Dominica already, right? All of the people on top and the people that aspire it, right? Dominica have a lot of talented people, but they just get discouraged when they try to do something properly and they bring it to the stations or they bring it to the DJ and it doesn't play it. You understand what I'm saying? Now, I'm not saying that only happens in Dominica. You understand? Right now, Trinidad going through a process with that right now. That thing where everybody and their friend and the radio and good songs going and falling by the wayside and them kind of thing. So a radio station is not a place for a DJ. A DJ needs to be in a nightclub by in our bar and this kind of things. On a radio, just like a TV station, you have announcers, you have a program, and then you deal with it like that. So because that kind of system Dominica doesn't have that kind of system in that way, like what you mentioned.
It is also better for computing royalties, because you will have a playlist of what that is being played.
Right.
So when come for distributing royalties, it's easier.
Even that part I was gonna get to. You see, it's a whole system, right? And the whole system again, Dominica is not the only place where that happens. I mean, if Echo have a serious problem in the Caribbean, in the OECS with logging. And having collecting royalties from stations, all those things in some of the islands of that in the jurisdiction. You understand what I say? So that doesn't only exist in Dominica. But if you look at the but let's focus on Dominica for now. This, and you talk about the competitive nature. This is why our Dominicans, with the exception of Asa Bantan, they cannot really compete with the Trinis and the Jamaicans and the Bajans and the Haitians, and
those days St. Vincent, Grenada, and St. Lucia, which we were all ahead of.
Right. See there. So now we have a problem where Bouyon has left Dominica shores, gone to places like Trinidad, Barbados,
St.
Lucia, and these artists now are replicating it in their own way and making it a part of their sound. And then they have the systems in place, especially Trinidad and Barbados. They have those systems in place where there's the audio visual, the visual side of it. They have TV stations that utilize music videos and all those things in place. And then not only just that part of it, then there's the fact that a place like Trinidad now is like the Hollywood of the Caribbean as it relates to soca music. So meaning when you go into Trinidad and Tobago, the world hears you. You understand? So it's equivalent to going in
once
Hollywood.
You penetrate that market.
Yeah, we need. I've been saying that, right? But we are not training that thing soca. No, that's foolishness. You see, we have to wise up our meditation. Dominica have limitations. To get Dominica to be at the same standard as Guadeloupe, Martinique, Trinidad, Barbados, Jamaica, it's impossible. It's really an impossible task. If let's say the government, for instance, invests in the structure here, I'm saying they shouldn't. But let's just say it happens, right? So they give us all of everything this power over there. We still don't have the consumption rate in Dominica for that to make sense, for it to turn a profit. Without the population, without the clubs, without the infrastructure, it just cannot work. So therefore, the best thing, the logical thing to do is to take the music and sell the music to the places that want the music. You understand? Which is I've proposed that numerous times before, but anyway, this is what it is. So for me, that's why I had to leave, just like Jeff and everybody else, leave Dominica and go elsewhere with the music that can open doors for me. You understand? I mean, staying here is nice and things are Dominican and whatnot, but there's a lot of limitations being in that little box. in Dominica, and in order for you to get better, you have to be around people that are better than you. You understand? So now, like I said, Dominica is in a really unique situation where I want to touch on the weight about Asa Bante music and the weight of his music. That is also another thing, because there's no quality control in Dominica. Man just go and order a thing on Amazon, order their computer, and I said they shouldn't do it because that's how I start to. You get what I'm saying? And then they record anything, put it outside there, put it on YouTube. Ever since the advent of social media, it take away it changed the access to music. You understand? So social media now, you can just make a song, put it on social media, YouTube and these things, people start consuming the music right there. So there's no quality control. Anybody can do what they want, and if you tell them to do it better, you're a hater. There are all kinds of things to say about you. You understand? So all them things are affecting the performance and the development of the year. That's why there was a rise in that thing they call nasty business.
Okay, Val, very important points. But then we have Carl Kofi James with us. Let us say good night to Carl Kofi James. Good evening to you, Carl.
Good evening, brothers.
What's up, Bridget? What's up? In the building,
everything blessed,
Val Kofi, Dada Lawrence, and Emily Puta.
All right, good evening, Val.
Hey, Kofi, how you doing?
Original.
And remember,
Emil, respect. And Dada,
Yeah, man.
maximum respect.
Respect.
Yeah, Wadix.
we want to wish you the best for the new year, but we also want to get your a short take on RSB's contribution to Bouyon music as we actually celebrating 34 years of the genre. We know RSB was a very potent band, started off more onto the Kadas Creole realm, and then before the end of the band, before you guys migrated, you actually blossomed into a powerful orchestra.
Well, yeah. The history, early days of RSB, or when RSB came on the scene, WCK was kind of the real just getting there, started doing the garage gigs and the school St. George Hall thing. But yeah, we were heavily influenced by the rise of the Kadas music, So that whole Kadas thing just came down on us, and everybody wanted to be part of the music, and the good thing about RSB, when we started, Bouyon wasn't there yet. And we were influenced by all the different genres of music. So even when the Bouyon was coming in, we were not, I wouldn't really say we were like hooked onto it or glued onto it at the time.
You didn't accept it immediately?
No, well, yeah, it's not about the acceptance, but we just, we had a style that we started working with, and we were on that path. And then we branched out and started to go to the country and do the little dancehall dance and gigs and stuff like that. But, the Bouyon being what it was, we couldn't resist it because we had to embrace it as soon as we felt it was really what Dominica was bringing out at the time. And, we had Burning Flames and jam bands. So we still had all these flavors and all these influences. But the Bouyon thing, we didn't have a choice but to, come in and start to create music of that in that genre.
But you guys were prolific. You guys were prolific in places like St. Martin, and you guys did quite a bit of work. As a matter of fact, I remember a summer we possibly spent about 2 months, Harbour Lights and so on, the late Lofty, what do you call the RSB, also by Cat. That former.
We did the carnival on the
streets. We did carnival on the streets together and so on and so on. RSB used to really rock it. I remember you guys used to really mash down Portsmouth.
Well, yeah.
Credit Union Hall.
We moved to Portsmouth basically around the carnival, especially around the carnival season. We would do the entire Portsmouth Calypso shows and do the Monday, at least give them a Monday jam because guys still wanted to come and be part of the carnival in Roseau, But we always loved the idea of, doing the bands thing together. Remember when we did the beach thing? And
yes, beach party, what they call it, beach party.
Yeah, and even the Salmon Tree when you did start the dance party.
Oh yes, with Sheridan Gregoire. That's where Cots used to be. So, where Cots is presently.
Yeah, we were not prejudiced towards our music. We wanted to play. We loved the Kadas, and we loved the variety of music. But really and truly, we did
But you guys had a special style of playing, your own groove, you had your own feeling. It was more Creole-ish, but you had your own vibes, your own feeling. And I also recall that when Lyndon Lestrade came to the band, he kind of helped to assist to change the sound.
Right. So yeah. So as we evolved from the Cardas, and we brought in some of the younger players, because RSB, the name RSB is Roots, Stem and Branches, and it was like a real tree because what you had is that the roots was there and the branches was just branching out, and we had different elements, and a lot of these young guys, even Earlson and these guys, used to be around, and we got stuff from them, even if they were like our juniors. You know what I mean? They influenced what we did. So when Lyndon, Dave Terrell, at one time we even teamed up with Eric from Serenade.
Eric Badwell.
So so all the different elements helped us to,
Panjam, Pirates.
Yeah, and for RSB, we had different people contributing to the production. So everybody brought a different element. It was always a group thing, Everybody wrote and tried to make sense out of the music, and then to put it together as a band. So you'll find different flavors even on one album of RSB.
Maxime Z. Powell was also very instrumental. Did vocals also. Jerry Moulin.
Exactly. We had Jerry. We had Wadadley, Cecil. Wadadley had the jam band. He was, in tune with his jam band side because he spent a lot of time in St. Thomas and Antigua. So we had him for that. Well, I was always the engineer and the reggae guy. From
Gregory Isaacs.
Yeah, right. But I still wrote some Bouyon. You know what I mean? I wrote soca, I wrote Bouyon, I wrote reggae. And we had Maxime, because of his French influence, doing most of the zouk and the cadas. We had Frankie doing the compa, but Frankie even transformed into the Bouyon because Pirate Frankie did that song,
Yes.
And then he did that other song that paid tribute to you.
Yes.
And Yaga.
Felix Henderson and so on. Ted Daly.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So,
absolutely. You guys contributed big time. Carl, you can hang around for a while. I'll come back to you, but I wanted to deal with some business.
Sure. Yeah, man, I'm listening.
With Val. I mean,
definitely, man.
Musicians. I remember a special interview, and I felt people hated you after that, Val. When you talk a different language. I happened to be with Ozzy Luis and Alvin Knight. When you talk a language about insurance, and we talked about several years ago, you talk about insurance for the musicians and that kind of level of discourse.
Yeah.
No, I think that passed over everybody's heads because we saw what happened to COVID-19 with all the musicians. Mm-hmm. There were no musicians except if you're doing something virtual, which basically was free and people contribute. But then the vision you had about almost 15, 20 years ago about that insurance scheme for musicians for times like these, because we are so prone to disasters, but we never took it on. The musicians here never took it on, Val.
The problem is we need to identify the areas that will help build the music industry. We have been going in circles and just enjoying the music in and out of season. But the artists are human beings. And not only for, when I spoke about the insurance, for times when they don't have the ability to perform anymore, but you're talking about health insurances. How many artists have health insurances? We don't have a national health scheme. The issue of copyrights, how many of the guys that are busy producing substandard music have any sort of arrangement with ECHO or any of these copyright societies that in the event of their death, the estate could get something? We are just excited that we can play music and be out there and get a few waves and a few applauses going out here, there and everywhere. So I believe that from a governmental standpoint, the Division of Culture, the Dominica Festivals Office, the Ministry of Tourism. They need to come and form an amalgamation that will bring together not only people like AMP, that is available now, but other groups of interest, which probably data can even help source to bring in, that can help train our young budding artists. Because there are artists out there who have great talent, but there's no direction. And the direction will come when we can, something similar, like, you have the UE Continuing School at Emsall. We need something where children, like we have a young lady from Portsmouth who suddenly burst on the scene. We have a 2-time Calypso King from SMA. Are we just going to let them continue? How are we going to harness their talent? How are we going to grow? How are we going to help her now? Okay, everybody's going to want to get her to perform on a show now and clap for her. But are we putting aside...
Possibly exploit her.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. So are you putting aside some monies for her to go to university? Where what she wants to graduate into. And these are the things that we start looking at, and how we can build the person before we just enjoy the music. And the insurance is one thing. Also looking at the economics of scale. How do you pay for a jam at the Windsor Park's forecourt? How much do you pay for a jam for the World Creole Music Festival? And shots throwing some. I mean, we try and knock down. And then another problem we have in Dominica now in the music is we look at colors. So if your color and
you're about your skin color,
your political color.
Oh, your political.
If your political color it doesn't align with the policies, then you may not even ever sing a song again. You may not even get an opportunity to be part of anything. You'll be marginalized. So we have to move away from that. So not every lyrical song can work for every event. I understand all that, but if we have talent, and I want to go back to Calypso a bit. I'm talking about Bouyon. We have one Calypsonian who is like a mighty sparrow. But what have we done in the last 15 years to use that individual and to use those around him to build and to elevate? And it's the same thing happening in the Bouyon music. We see what happened. Shelley was a Triple K. He graduated into Signal and he started showing it. But he started off as a junior Calypso monarch of Dominica, right? And he was able to now put himself in line to become the Gordon Henderson of Bouyon music. The man who can write, who can sing, who can direct, who can do everything that's possibly needed. What are we doing? We're going to say Shelley is well off. Shelley can take care of himself. He's a Harvard graduate. He doesn't need us. No. We need to put the effort and the monies into them. Benji, Tazi, Geoffrey, Kendall, they are getting older. They will not be able to do this for the next 10, 15 years. So they are making way. It hurts to see what has happened to WCK. One of the things I love to see is for Derek Rapeters and Cornel Phillip and Keith Goddard to sit down in a room and let bygones be bygones. And the sort of history they have, the knowledge they have, pass it on to the next generation of this young Bouyon talents. Work with them, and forget whatever misgivings they may have had, because it's important. Because we're seeing the talent. Even Derek has a young talented son who plays the keyboard, right? Ajmal, all right. So you can see that. But where are we growing if we are not actually touring? And that's the problem that we face in Dominica. We do not express joy for music unless we come to the jam, or unless if we have a personal interest in the person that is singing the song.
What about the authorities putting some budgetary arrangements? As a matter of fact, in my earlier discussion this morning, Derek Rapeters, he was part of the discussion, and he mentioned there was a facility for musicians which was almost impossible for musicians to actually get. And we're talking about the assistance at the aid bank. How and when are we going to understand, like places like Jamaica and even Barbados and to a certain extent, Trinidad, how they have developed sports and music and culture tourism? When Bolt goes out and breaks a record, Jamaica flags are all over the place. You know, we have, as a matter of fact, Bouyon, somebody said that Bouyon is one of the biggest export from Dominica. We no longer have bananas. So why can the authorities see how potent music, culture, sports is and put the necessary? We now have 3, Emil, I've been boasting, we now have 3.5 Dominicans out there. Stephen Pascal and a half Dominican. I think his mother is Dominican and original. I think his father is from St. Martin. We have 2 Dominicans, homegrown Afanaz and Hodge out there. Sports, music, tourism is big thing. The guy for I just saw the guy for Shamal Joseph getting a hero's welcome. All of a sudden, now everybody want to know where he's from and what he has been eating. The man was a security officer last year.
but that is the problem we face. Our budgetary allocations are stifled by the fact that we remain mainstream. You know, education, health, agriculture to a certain extent. When you start talking
concrete.
When you start talking about human development through music, it's like as if it's on the side. Unless so if. Take, for example, I hope if we can start this way. When Beno Pascal and his wife comes back to Dominica, the government of Dominica should ask them for all their bills and refund them. Because they have done more for Dominica than the Discover Dominica Authority has done in quite a while. They have taken their son goes to South Africa. He's out there, and these people are dressed in Dominica's T-shirts, which I think are wonderful. They have the flags, they have people energized, and they are marketing the destination. These are the things we want. So when Dada goes and produces songs for Marshall Montano, and he goes to Trinidad, when he appears at the Discover Dominica Authority, we should have a contingent going to Trinidad to give this support and to show Dominica our cross-border alliances. Why isn't Dominica being able to say, well, let's go to St. Lucia Carnival and represent Dominica, Dominica's culture?
Dada took a guy from Maho, ordinary guy who plays conch shell well, from Maho and brought him to Trinidad on a big stage.
Yes.
And it was only COVID-19 who actually stopped them because you guys had a major world tour planned. But then what have we done with this guy since? You know, it's like the guys like no kere, ayapala. And that is how we treat culture, like a stepchild, like nothing.
And that's the problem, Wadix. So I'm saying, let us like now we are threatened by St. Vincent, we are threatened by St. Lucia when we should not be. All right, we need to be able to. We should have found ourselves maintaining our leadership from what this is headed too low left, and to be able to grow on it. When there is a vacuum of common sense, right, and people are unable to judge clearly after a while, if you're tired, it doesn't make any sense. And I think now that the square pegs are in wrong holes that are being placed in situations which they cannot manage should put the white flag up. You know, I applaud DBS Radio for keeping this, because when we started, when I was at the festival, we started Bouyon Day and we started Kadas Day, all right? Cecil was the first to jump at the opportunity to be part of Bouyon Day, to be part of Kadas Day. I remember clearly that it was remarked that Kadas Day should not happen because at the time Gordon Henderson was speaking against the government. Yeah. And up until a day like today, the Kadas Day has not really picked up, right? And he's an icon, all right? The same thing in Bouyon Day. I'm happy that we're seeing that the Bouyon now is taking it, but we need to find a Bouyon association, a musician association. We need to find a way to have the Bouyon Awards. We need to find a way to have a Bouyon Week, you know? No, these are things that can happen, but if you sit in an office and you don't have the creative genius to do those things, it is good. It's your responsibility to seek advice. You know, I mean, thank God there are those people like yourself and I and Dada, Emil, that God has given us more life to be here. Ask the question, because at the end of the day, Dominica will benefit if we all collectively put our minds together and help build this industry. Because there are talents in Grand Bay, there are talents in Portsmouth, there's talents in Penville, there are talents in Goodwill, but they are just there waiting and they are being dormant because we are not doing enough to elevate them.
Okay, I'll come back to him in a while. But Dada, very interestingly, you had a particular experience with Marshall. I mean, we saw our flag being flown well high. It was a particular experience, and it was a kind of breaking into a kind of so concentrated market. How you suggest we as a people, as a destination, continue that momentum? Because I get in a feeling we have lost the momentum since then.
Yeah, well, I agree. First of all, I agree with everything Val just say, 100,000%. I have suggested to the powers that be almost everything Val just said there. Before, during, and after the whole family phenomenon, right? I suggested the whole Dominica needs to claim Bouyon before Dominica loses Bouyon completely. I mean, for instance, the other day, and I'll get back to answer your question directly. Somebody sent me a video of some guys from the Congo, that was singing some Bouyon tracks in the Congo, you know what I mean, and they one stage performing, and he was in the Bouyon rhythm, and they were singing on it, and then the crowd was just there and all these things. So which means that the music now has legs, right? And so there are so many more people, countries practicing Bouyon. Dominica needs to claim it. That's why I suggested the Bouyon Music Awards. Dominica, for instance, last year, for this 2024 Carnival, I did a song with Patrice called Look Me Friend Them, right? So this song now is, if you listen to that song, it has a WCK, real strong WCK influence on it. As a matter of fact, I was working this song for like, 2-3 months. And the song was finished, we had approval of the song and everything. But I still felt that the song was missing something. So I called Keith. I tell Keith, boy, Keith, I want you to come and play that song. I feel like you can give me that kind of a CK vibe. And I sent the song for Keith. Keith had one day, Keith come in the studio the next day, and Keith played the first time. Keith plugged the guitar where I press record. Keith played the song. It was flawless, perfect, right? And so to come back to your point, Bouyon has gone. Dominica is different now. We need to adapt with the conditions of the game and claim it. So there needs to be the Bouyon Music Awards. People like Patrice Roberts and Marsha Montano, Bungie Gal, and all these people now need to be a part of the awards. They will be a part of it. You understand? So you see how it have it have the Grammys. You understand? Dominica need to have because the Bouyon right now has infiltrated all these places, especially places like Guadeloupe. You understand? Where there are so many Bouyon artists. I mean, Admiralty, Dali, all these, Kalash.
Cornell just sent me something from a Bouyon song, Mr. Vegas or something.
Yeah,
Mr.
right.
Vegas, yeah.
Right. So all of these, right now the Bouyon is different now. So we cannot see the music from a Dominica standpoint and what we see happening in Roseau. You understand? But as Val said, it's really his vision and foresight, and the powers that we need to have conversations with specific stakeholders, not who they want. You understand? That's the problem,
When you see, Val mentioned something very critical. You have to forget the callers.
Yeah.
And allow the people with the necessary knowledge, the people with necessarily. There are some people that it's like Val. Okay, these three of you guys are result oriented.
Facts.
And not only that, you have proven over and over Dominica first for you guys.
Right.
You may have your differences, you may have a difference of opinion, you may not agree with everything, but then the most important thing, Dominica first.
Yeah.
There are different ways to go Bayfront. You can pass Fort Young, you can pass by the market, you can pass Cock Street, you can pass Kennedy Avenue. But the bottom line is all of us want Dominica to reign.
Right.
So we have to forget these petty differences and colors and start to get the right people to come on board, whilst God has allowed those people to be alive. If we seriously want, yes, Emil.
Haven't you called me already because you disagree with me on
How many
something?
How many times? Myself and Val almost fight. Myself and Val almost fight.
Yeah, it happens all the time.
Val tell me was I almost mad.
We disagree all the time.
Of course
the last time we had a big disagreement with Burna Boy.
Burna Boy, yeah.
Right?
But you have
and then you called me. I spent about an hour and a half on the phone with you. I was in Guadeloupe at the time, and then we were back and forth about Burna Boy. Same thing with Val. I've had disagreements with Val many, many times. Right? And look at me here with Val. Look at me here with you. right? Look at me here with Dada. We've had our disagreements, you know, but you put those things aside, and that is how it is supposed to be done. And this is one of the fundamental problems with the Bouyon, right? And that is why it is not going anywhere, because as Val was saying, people cannot put their differences aside. And all what you all are saying is great, you know, beautiful, that the authorities need to do this and that and so on. But you know what the first thing is going to happen? Whenever somebody, like if the authorities again say, well, we want to send one band to England, and they choose a band to send to England, then all of a sudden everybody else is going to be making noise. And there's a problem with that. But these things need to happen. You have Antigua Carnival, you have St. Lucia Carnival, you have Labor Day, you have Elka Kulzlatik doing something in Miami, selling bakes and cheese and those things there to get a band off the road for 20 years. 20 years. And Elka struggling to that in a place like Miami, where you're going to have over 1 million eyes looking at you. Why can't we come? The name of Elka's band is Riverland Mass. Why can't we come together and say, okay, Elka, we're going to assist you. We're going to pay for a band for you. Get some other Dominican businesses and so on board to showcase Dominica in Miami. Right? And it can be done. It can easily be done. Right? Same thing, I've lost money. I've gone to talk about, with the same Val here, about bringing up a band to New York to put on the road on Eastern Parkway for Labor Day and so on. And we lost money on that. Right? Lost money on that, us as individuals. And who is going to benefit from it?
Dominica.
Dominica is going to benefit from it. But the first thing that has to be done is that these guys, with all their egos and so on, let me rephrase that.
I was saying, the music, the artists, the musicians, the Bouyon artists themselves are acting suicidal. They're actually shooting themselves.
They're acting stupid. They're acting silly. Let's put it raw, right? Let's put it raw. They're acting real silly, and they need to realize that it is for the betterment of them. Right? Yes. Put your differences aside. What is this stupid thing about I? Every year I have to listen to that thing and I just shake my head. Creole Festival coming, I was the one that did this. I was the one that did that.
Yeah, who cares?
I'm the one that brought Dada. I'm the one that made Joffrey play keyboard, and I. What stupidness is that? Nobody wants to hear that. Yeah. Let us move forward from that. When are we going to move forward from that? I did this. I deserve that recognition. Give that to me. I deserve that respect and so on. Come on, guys. Yeah, at some point, we have to put that sort of thing away and then see how we're going to move forward in the business. See how we're going to benefit. See how we're going to make money from it.
Is a national Bouyon symposium necessary at this point in time? Val?
I think not only Bouyon, we need a national music symposium.
In national praise.
Yes, and to look at
well, we will start the symposium with
at
praise.
all the musical elements that we have, including our indigenous culture. Because we cannot forget the traditional, right? Which is the foundational elements that we use to where we are. All right. So once we form that national musical symposium, we discuss, our pros and cons, our weaknesses and our strengths, and look at the global picture. Where are we now that we should have been 10, 15 years ago? And where do we see ourselves going? And who are the stakeholders that we can use to help grow the industry and to put it on a firm footing? Because the problem is that we have no legacy besides the fact that we have had great talent that have gone before in Kadas. We have nothing to explain to that next generation. So that's why people are wondering, but why is the music changing? It's because we have refused to put oil in the engine that would have sustained the ride that is going forward. So now people are jumping off the bandwagon and doing anything and call it music.
Facts.
All right? Yeah. So the authorities must not wait for when election is called to recognize the value of the product. We must build on the product now so that when we call election, There's absolutely no need to have any foreign artists. Our local artists would be already stepped up to that plate that they can bring 10,000 Dominicans into the park for you, you know. But the symposium is needed. Guys need to sit down to talk, you know, to plan. And this is a serious thing.
And be honest.
And be honest, you know, and to understand what is the role of the Division of Culture. What is the role of Dominica Festivals Office? What is the role of AMP? How do we tie them in, you know, and make things happen? Because you look at Calypsonians like now for the Calypso season. Oh, they walk it around like peacocks. They are the hottest things in town. And then the very time the carnival is over, that's it. You understand me? Now, you look at some Calypsonians, when the season is over, they baking their bread. They on their farm. They're doing something. What can you I always tell guys, for you to be a successful musician, whether you're a professional or not, when the lights are out, you have to know that there's something coming in, whether it's your royalties or you have established some businesses somewhere that you can at least fall back on. A lot of our musicians are on hard luck. I mean, we'll talk about health. As you get older, you have to look at it. Prostate cancer is on the rise. Cancer is generally on the rise. Our NCDs, you're talking about blood pressure, diabetes, you know. So people are taking everything for granted. You know, I mean, look at what happened to the guy in Antigua and Barbuda. You know, Ricardo was young, energized, and talented, looking forward to great week. But you have to be looking at so many things. And I know healthcare is very expensive, but how many guys have a health insurance or do an annual doctor check every year to make sure things are going fine? And if you fall sick suddenly, we have a problem. Who do we go to? We ask Emil for help, call Val, call Dada. Yeah. No. Start being the CEO of your life. Once you become the CEO of your life, the band music that you're playing will start seeing the value and you'll elevate.
Ban, I love the discussion coming out. And I'm going to invite some callers who feel that they may want to express themselves for a few minutes. But Dada, we have seen the groovy aspect of soca music, adding some variety to the genre. We know there's the power, but there's also the groovy. But in recent times, you have been saying mainly the groovy taking foot. Is there now an opportune time in Dominica so that we can look at the groovy Bouyon a little more, so we can add some more variety to the genre instead of just leaving it at the party carnival style?
Yeah. I mean, well, I want to touch first on what Val was saying there about you know, and what Emily was talking about, you know, promoting Dominica in the other islands during carnivals. And
let's see if we can get caller first. Good evening to you, Creole Heartbeat.
Hey, good evening to Creole Heartbeat.
Good evening. We have Emil Diputa in the building, Val Coffee, and Dada Lawrence. Listen to us and not your computer set. Okay, that person isn't ready for us, but we have another caller. Let's see if we can take that other caller. Good evening to you, Creole Heartbeat. Hello, good evening.
Hello, Wadix.
Yes, good evening to you.
Jeffrey.
Hey, Jeffrey, what's up, my brother?
Yeah, I don't know what is happening. I couldn't connect.
Okay, well, just give us some information one time while we are here. It's already 26 past. I'm not quite sure what happened. But Jeffrey was supposed to have been hooking up with us sometime earlier to give us some information on Effects Band. And Effects was one of those major bands during those days, and also an institution which produced several prominent musicians. Tell us for a few minutes about Effects Band and their contribution to Bouyon music. Are you there, Jeffrey? Oh boy, we have lost Jeffrey. But let's go back there. We seem to have lost Jeffrey. Not sure what's wrong with the connection. But that a very important area.
Yeah. So I know for a fact, in St. Vincent, the CDC, that is the Carnival Development Committee, have an envoy that they send to all of the major carnivals in the region.
Wow.
I know that for a fact because I have been with them, right? They work directly with the government. As a matter of fact,
you have a passport number, Vince. I know you're given an award.
Well, yeah, you don't even tell me that I'm honorary Vincent.
Yeah, Valley Man with a serious award.
Yeah.
From Skinny Fabulous, that got you that award.
No, the Prime Minister.
The Prime Minister.
Wadix, sorry, was the online number, is it 448-3284?
Yes, 448-3284.
Okay.
448-3284 or 1-800-327. Okay, let's see if we can take that caller. Good evening to you, Creole Heartbeat.
Yes, good evening, gentlemen. Very interesting program.
Thank you very much.
Excellent. I don't know if it's been raised before, but one of the things I've been waiting for, and I know there was a brief chat about the groovy soca and the crossover. I've been waiting for Bouyon crossing over into EDM. And Emil will probably know this. In Miami, every year there's the Ultra Music Festival, which dirties downtown Miami. And if you look at the rhythm, it's pretty much BDM. It's pretty much Bouyon for white folks.
Yeah.
So I don't know if there's ever been any conversation about that. But how do we cross over into that mainstream, which you're in a completely different market space?
Okay, thank you very much, caller. Pleasant night. Dada, once again, groovy. We were just on the topic, groovy Bouyon, and
so just to touch on what you say there, you said that is something that I have already been, I've been assessing that as well. But those kind of crossovers there, you can only make it with leading artists that, because that is really experimenting, right? So in as much as it sounds like Bouyon, the tempo and it's similar, and even in terms of the application of the music is kind of similar and whatnot. In Dominica, Dominicans, they're not gonna do that.
The same setup. I mean, you're referring to the deficiency once again in the singing ability.
No. Because the thing is, in DA, Dominicans only see Roseau.
I know.
That's the only thing. They only see Roseau. Then you can jump, you can have the most elaborate conversation with them. They're gonna come with everything we say, they're making sense. When you see they leave that studio and they go outside there and they hear the damn man have a better rhythm than them, it just gone.
Okay, let's see if we have another call on the line. Good evening to you, Creole Heartbeat.
Say what it is to me again. I keep on hearing something in the background of you guys.
Okay, well, just go right ahead with your contribution as we're trying to get some information across some effects.
All right. Before I do this, I want to thank a couple of people here. I want to thank, what's his name? Emil.
Yeah. Emil, Val, and Dada in the building.
Yeah, but Emil taught us how to manage and take the thing for as a business. And I need to thank him on that. I never told him that before. I need to thank Ra for one thing. He taught us that we should always play our music and our music only. I also need to thank Kalti, Snakey for WCK, Sean for Watson Warriors, Jenna Boston for Ceramics, and I can't remember the other guy for and Mervyn and Bob for Rough and Ready. There are certain people, key people, when I look at the band and I look at these people, they are the foundation. They that keep the engine going in the back, so I wanted to thank them. In relation to effects, our contribution was mostly around not rhythm as in rhythm, the word rhythm, but the drum machine, redeem, as we say in Dominica, right? So before in the Bouyon, there wasn't any drum machine as a crutch. And I use that as a relative term because we use it as a crutch in the beginning, right? Effects band. Because we were not as good as the other band when we were starting off. And that was our contribution then. But it did not take off until when them guys from Lafayette decided to put it in Bethla. And then everybody embraced it because eventually Maurice came on board with WCK and they embraced the song. So that really was our contribution in that sense. All right? And then we have other contributions in the area of the style of music because obviously everybody sung it differently. All right? Everybody had a different song. And our song, although Kofi would tell you, oh, we were more like a jam band. But it's hard for you to sing like a Tomian band or Kitishan band when you're in Dominica because the culture, the language, food, everything, that's what makes a song. And that's what makes a song Bouyon, right? It's everything around you. So you cannot say, well, I used to play jam band music or sing jam band music. Although I must admit, back then, is King Obstinate and what's his name? Daddy Friday that I used to look up to. But the point is, you still cannot song like them because of your culture. So back then, the whole music thing for us was based on that rhythm box. All right? And by the way, a fun fact there, what's his name? DJ Cott and I had a conversation. And around the same time, DJ Cott was doing his thing with the same drum machine in a different way. It was mostly on hip hop and reggae. We were doing that, and DJ Cott was our main DJ every time we go out to the country. So, in a nutshell, that's how I can appreciate our contribution to the song.
Who were some of the members?
The members, well, people like Clint should be on board there, because Clint was the original member. Just like Hayford Laffer, he's in Dominican now for the carnival.
Hayford also played with Raridim.
He played Raridim, yes. Then you have Monel Mondesi.
Played with WCK also.
He played with WCK
and Raridim also.
And Raridim also. Then you had Nai. Then you had Afterton and Brinsley Charles. You had Griffin Jura.
Your brother never played. Your brother never played for Effects. Your brother never sang for Effects.
Well, of course, I was.
Oh, Satan, of course, man.
Yeah, well, back then they didn't know him as Vice Daddy or Peter Walsh. They know him as Satan.
Satan, that's how I know him in Pottersville, man.
Yeah, I had to stop him from answering to that name.
As the teacher you were.
Yeah. And Peter was also involved. Was one of the original guys with Eric and Morris on the Partners in Crime album, right?
Yeah.
Ian Moyle. So that basically was the band in a nutshell.
And how many albums you guys were fortunate to have made?
Yeah, we were a little bit what you call that?
My favorite song from you guys was Party Animal.
Yeah, but we were a little bit advanced in making and creating music. Imagine we knew how to write a song and arrange a song before the guys knew how to really play their instruments perfectly. No, for real. So in 1993 we had Big Things Like One. Wule was probably the first song we created, and then in 1994 we had Look a Jump Up, Look a Mass.
What about Hurricane? When you guys made Hurricane?
That album had I don't know if you remember Soaking Wet.
Yes.
That album had Soaking Wet.
Which album? Ashton, the late Ashton Phillip produced.
Oh, the one with Ashwax.
Yes.
Okay, well, it was it was the Party Animal.
Party Animal, yeah.
But it was the Party, but it was Play Effects Play because
Play Effects Play. That was a mashup, yeah.
We combined two albums in one because the year before we didn't have an album and we had done something in '95 called We Reach, We Follow.
Mm.
That's where.
But when did you all do Play Effects Play?
Play Effects Play was 1997.
Wow.
That was a big song.
As a big song. And Hurricane.
Yes. And then Hurricane was 1998.
1998.
Yes.
Yeah, man. This one,
we had about 1, 2, 3. I think we had about 1, 2, 3, 5. We were kind of prolific anytime about making music and creation. Because remember, you have people like Clint.
Yes.
Crucial. You had people like my brother.
Peter.
All right, writing. You had me writing. And now he wasn't writing then.
Now he was on the keyboards.
Yeah, but we had 3 writers in the band, so we were actually gifted in that sense.
And at the time, both Clint and I were playing keyboards.
Clint was the lead keyboard, and Brinsley. I'm not Brinsley. Now he took over for Brinsley when Brinsley went away to study. Yes,
okay.
That's correct. He's a rhythm keyboard. It's Nai.
Well, Jeffrey, thanks so much for the information. We just wanted to document that on our special program tonight. And we just want to wish you guys all the best. And let's hope that we can have a big reunion one of those days. All of you guys are alive.
Yes, all of us are alive. All of us are alive. Oh, by the way, let me tell Val.
Yeah.
I cannot agree with you on most of your contributions in terms of 98% of it. And again, I want to say thank you because you gave us an opportunity to back up Calypsonians when we used to go to call you and in different places there. So I have to say that live. just to thank you.
Okay.
Welcome.
Thank you very much, Jeffrey.
Thank you, Jeffrey.
So you, Val, once again, you forget to give Effects a gig to back up Calypso.
But you see, that's what you have to do. So we did it with Effects. I used to have the friendship tours, take Calypsonians to St. Lucia.
With Ambassador Stent.
Ambassador Stent, if Invaders Stent. I used to guys to Antigua. We used to go down to Antigua. We go to St. Thomas in the Virgin Islands, St. John's in St. Croix. So even as far as we went to Canada and the US. Now, I was doing that and planning these things by myself. The associations of music, whether it's Calypso, whether it's Bouyon, they need to find ways and means of trying to sustain the industry. Not only in the creative side, but how to manage guys towards fulfilling their true needs in life.
I want to go back to something Emil said a while ago, Dada, and this is very important. The I syndrome. Extremely selfish. We hardly... First of all, I've been getting quite a bit of complaints every carnival that the people coming home cannot get something like a memorabilia to take back home, a compilation of some sort. We know the Calypsonians tried it some years ago, but then we cannot even come together and put a compact disc or something together, a compilation of the best songs for Carnival together. Not even that we can do. We are seeing some kind of movement with the new generation where Shelly, Nice doing something, also Mr. Guada and Triple K doing something, but that's just for one song. We have been seeing that all the time in Trini, all the time in Jamaica collaborations, Buju Banton and Berries. We have been seeing that for generation and are we too selfish? Are our musicians in Dominica bold-faced too selfish? Dada.
Oh.
And I want also from Emil and Val. I want us to be upfront.
Yeah. I think it is selfishness, but I really think it's more on a lack of understanding for music business.
Lack of vision.
Yeah. And so because these guys don't understand the music business side of it, they don't understand the value of collaboration, right? And that has hurt our music. I see people complaining all the time about not having music, like especially the people that are coming in, not having something to go back with and all these kind of things. As a matter of fact, we live in a time now where the music is digital, right? So you have streaming services, you have Spotify and all, iTunes and Amazon Music and YouTube and all these things. But you can't even find this guy's music on these platforms. You understand what I'm saying? So, on Spotify and Apple Music, I know you have your playlists and all these things. So it's like, if Dominica music was more, if these guys they understood the whole how to sell the music better, then all of them would have put their music on these platforms, and then they could create what they call playlists. So it could have a Dominica Carnival 2024 playlist, and then under that playlist on Spotify or iTunes or whatever, you would see all of these songs for Dominica Carnival. We could have that for Trinidad. They have all different sorts of playlists for Trinidad, right? You have Trinidad, you have the top 10, you have Trinidad 2024, you have all kind of different playlists, right? So whenever you want the music, you can just go on Spotify, iTunes, and boom, you get out there, get all of the top songs and so on. Them men don't know these things. You understand? And when everybody pull up and they, because of a lack of organization and knowledge, they spend more time, wanting to feel like there's a king, there's a big fish amongst TTV, in Dominica. You get what I'm saying? And the music business it doesn't function that way. That's why all of them broke. You understand? Because music is a multi-billion-dollar industry, and right now Bouyon music is the most valuable style of music right now in the Caribbean. Our artists should be doing well. You understand? But it's because of lack of knowledge. They spend a lot of time, with all those kind of divisive kind of thing. However, I have to differ a bit to Emil when he talk about rivalry. I think rivalry can be lucrative, you understand, for the industry if it is done in a way that doesn't sow, hatred. And
that's the problem.
But it's competition. Competition is good.
That's the problem.
Good evening. A special caller for our panel here this evening, Creole Heartbeat.
Yeah, good evening. Good evening.
Good evening.
Okay, Wadix.
Yes, bonsoir.
Number one promoter on the island.
Merci.
And my boy Young Bull and Emil and
Dada.
Yeah, man.
Dada.
Good night.
Yeah, man.
Boy,
Respect.
all you fellas, just adding to what has been happening to me from last night. And let me tell you, all the fellas hitting some key points here. And I don't have question for you. I just want to support always what Oli saying.
Okay.
And one of our biggest problem in Dominica, because I can remember from the beginning of Bouyon, when fellas used to come outside and encourage when Hurricane used to run Unity 10, and the kind of argument that used to be there for to tell guys, the kind of argument. I'm not a musician, I don't play nothing, I don't write. I'm an actor, and I know what, culture is. And I want to tell you, our biggest problem is we are competing against ourselves. We are competing. I don't know how all you want to take it, but for me, from the time the Bouyon music started, and not only Bouyon, not only long before Bouyon, we've been competing against ourselves, and that is what keeping our music going. Bouyon come now, and I tell you, boy, I get into love the Bouyon more and more and more, especially with them young performers that have come out.
Wake me up. You want to wake up?
I want to wake up?
No, ask if you love that one, to wake you up.
No, boy, let me tell you, what is, I have my favorite, but I will not call it.
No, don't call it. No, don't call it. Don't call it. Don't call it. Don't call
I
it.
want to be, you see, that's the thing. Because when you go choosing a favorite, you create a problem. Because the other that's not your favorite thinking, you're against them. And even in the college.
The most important thing, just say you love all of them.
That is it. I love all of them.
Okay. Enjoy your carnival, my partner.
Hey, yes, man.
Okay, good night. Okay, have a wonderful carnival. That's a lovely caller here.
Well, Alex,
yeah.
Let me say some in terms of monetizing, right? Structure, management, and structure. Take, for example, you find a lot of times the bands have a little problem in terms of who going to play first, nobody there, and that sort of thing. My thing with Triple K, with WCK and so on, fellas, you have a contract, you're getting paid to play from 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock. Even if one person is in there, that's the time you're getting paid to play. Let us play and get out of there, right? When Triple K was going to do Belgium, let me just tell you a little secret, right? The promoter said they will pay the band. They will pay the band to get from England to Belgium, but they will not pay the passage for the band. And I had to put the guys together and tell them, fellas, that is an opportunity. Let us take that opportunity. So we got in touch with a promoter in England to take the band from Dominica to England. And then we used an airline called Ryanair to go from England to Belgium and got paid nothing. But guess what? We were going to get a live DVD of the band performing. And that live DVD was worth more than anything else that the band could imagine. Because that live DVD, we put that on Tempo. We sent that throughout the Caribbean, and that is when Triple K started touring all over the place, all over the Caribbean with that live CD. So you have to decide. For example, World Creole Music Festival. You want the band to come on first? No problem. But here's what we want. We want to make sure we have the cameras, and we want to make sure we get a videotape of that performance as soon as we finish, within a week or so. We want a video. So it's not always about the people jumping up in front of you, but how you use what you have, how you strategize, right? And then a lot of the guys, they don't do that. All they want to see is people jumping up and down in front of them. But those people jumping up and down in front of you does not turn into any money, into any financial gain. It's just a few people in Maho, a few people in St. Joe. So you're in guys now going to play for free just because of ego.
Yeah.
Okay, we have another call on the line. Good evening to you, Creole Heartbeat.
Yeah, good evening, Wadix. Good evening, Emil. Good evening, Dada. Good evening, Val. Good evening to my brother Kofi. Yeah, that's Black Pepper. Yeah.
Hey, Black Pepper, what's up, my brother?
No,
I did, just listening to the information, and I was saying to myself, I hope.
Official Rodi for RSB.
Yeah, man.
Official Rodi.
Yep.
And sound check specialist. For RSB.
I carry plenty speaker.
and speaker carrier. I forget that last part.
Yeah, man. But speaker carrying with me Canada, but I'm not Canada carrying speaker. Me and Dominic Zama and everybody, you know what I mean?
I know you have your own history.
Very interesting conversation, and I just hope that the players involved in trying to keep the genre alive in Dominica are taking note of the history and the strategy it takes to try to keep and embrace and sense our product out of Dominica. You know, but you all made a lot of critical points there. I think that is, like I say, I hope they're listening to take note. And a lot of it has to do with how do we get the music out there, and what forum, what veins do we have to get it out there. And one of the biggest problems and the discipline that these guys are lacking in the band is that they cannot tolerate management. They feel they need to take care of everything to do with from money to playing to everything, and they don't have the discipline when someone else calls a shot to make it happen. And I realize that is affecting a lot of the longevity out of a lot of bands presently. But on that level, that's why I pay close attention to Signal Band. And I pay close attention to Signal Band because I realize, in my perspective, that's the only band that is running under a sound structure, not just from watching it from a business perspective, but they also take up the responsibility in terms of product quality and content, right? And then, like I just said, they have a business framework supporting it. So they give me hope. They give me hope. And I realized recently they are impeding in the space that seems to be going astray. I can say so because recently I saw Nice made a little collaboration with Emil, with not Emil.
Shelly.
With Shelly, and I'm telling myself, okay, while I personally give a little leverage to the nasty business, I just figured at some point in time it could have been a strategy to put your foot in the door, to get your foot wet. But you cannot stay on that because we all know that music is a stretch and stop based on content, right? So I realized that, and I take it for granted, I have confidence in Signal that the well-to-do, knowledgeable, educated people will gravitate those that are part of the force of the Bouyon force into the right energy in terms of conceptualizing the lyrics, the content, and trying to add more value in that forum. So I give, again, Signal a little kudos for embracing, and I'm not embracing it in its authenticity from the nasty business point of view, but also trying to put a little sense, allow a little sense to come in the music, but from their platform. So there can be hope, there can be a turnaround. It's all about how we do it. You understand what I'm saying, Wadix?
Absolutely, my brother.
To do with the nasty business. Yeah, so I really appreciate that conversation there tonight, and I think every musician should take heed of the formula. And Val, another thing you said to do with associations and that I am always a big advocate about association that would create a forum for guidance and proper promotion and take that off the musicians' responsibility. What they have to focus on is their production, the quality of their music, and forget the business aspect of it. The business aspect of music is a whole different thing from playing an instrument. And unless people understand that, they will not grow, they will not progress, and they won't reap the benefits of the music. And to do with what Dada said, I'm a big advocate, and I mentioned that, I can plainly say that tonight. I mentioned about documentation of the history of the music in terms of a CD, not just digital. Because I see in 2024 where you'll go in a man house in New York and you'll see a vola, whatever, the WCK.
Vola.
And that not living, vola. That not living Mr. House, you know.
No way.
Because you have to appreciate, wax, you have to appreciate CD
the digital platform. If the digital platform crashes at any point in time, you lose everything, you know.
Absolutely.
You get what I'm saying? So there's this tangible part in what we call collectibles that we need to have. So somebody can post a CD. As we speak, Signal cannot put a CD in a Hall of Fame. You cannot put a drum drive in a Hall of Fame. You get my point?
Yes. Understand totally. Yeah.
So I told Shelly, just my opinion as a consumer, I said, Shelly, I want you all guys to do me one favor. I want you all to make a compilation at least every 2 years, because you all are putting a lot of material forward, but you all need to put a compilation for me to appreciate.
Black Pepper, as you speak there, a lot of Black Pepper. As you speak there, a lot of the other artists actually making albums, you know. They're making albums, 9, 10 songs, but they are just making it digital. But they're actually making an album. Produce an album.
Yeah, well, I'm not talking about albums. Yeah, I'm not talking about albums in terms of the difference between an EP and an album. I'm talking about staying in the digital platform, because it is part of the strategy and the business forum, but never forget the authenticity of the history of keeping music.
Which is the CD.
Whether you have to go what? Yes, or whether you have to go CD. It is one of the things that is a collectible that retains or its value grows on it. If you come to a record store now in the States, you're not walking out of that store without you pay for $40 for a record. You know, that was $3 back in the days, Wadix.
Yeah, and I understand in the UK that wax is also coming back
at that point in time.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to, we need a framework to be able to embrace that, to promote that, and for us to see how best we can keep our whole musical aspect, from history to business to the outside world, and whatever it takes to have a place. We need to try to put things in perspective, and we need to have a formula moving forward for associations, collaborations, networking, and see how we can save that. Because if we don't do that, we will lose it. One way or the other, we will lose it. The business aspect is critical.
Thank you very much, Black Pepper.
Yeah, good night.
When are you coming down to? You always coming down and never reaching. When are you coming down? Okay, he left us already. That is the famous Black Pepper. But guys, once again, you know, the business aspect of it is endorsed. As we wind down, 5 more minutes to go, I want you guys to really search your cerebrum and cerebellum, and let's see how we can, you know, make some real positive. We talk about the quality. We're not sure if the Bureau of Standards here in Dominica may be able to assist, because we're accepting so many substandard products. Not even our products we consume, that there is a particular quality on it. And maybe the Bureau of Standards need to step up the game and put a particular quality level on our music, so we can know well what that goes out and what that doesn't. Because otherwise anything goes out those days, especially on social media. We also talk about the vocal variation. As Dada spoke about a serious deficiency. Unlike what is out there, we seem to have a serious vocal problem. We have a management problem. We also have a serious problem where we are not, the music and culture in Dominica has not been taken as seriously like it should. It is still taken as a side child, and we need to really get serious about it. So many things coming up from our discussion tonight. How can we put this together? I'm going to do my part of documentation and replay. But Val, I think apart from all that, we have been talking about an association, we have been talking about a forum. If we are alive, and it's just a special reason we are alive. God has allowed us to be alive. Several of our friends have gone to the wild beyond. I still think there is hope. We are all passionate about one beautiful piece of rock between Guadeloupe and Martinique in the center of the Caribbean basin. It belongs to us. All of us, we are passionate about what happens to us. How are we going to take this discussion here and put it into a tangible form where we can actually teach children? I know you are very good at that, Val. How we can expose the children to that sort of information. How we can make the children be aware of some of the stuff that are told us about. But otherwise, what is going to happen? They're going to grow up with the same bad habits that is there before them, with nothing else to actually turn to. And that is how I want us to leave here tonight, with reflection on how are we going to allow this destination to be what it's supposed to be. Too much potential, and it just staying as potential. How we can get everyone, all stakeholders, to come together, and we need to have a voice. Otherwise, the politicians are going to tell us they need to speak to one body, one uniform body under one umbrella. Something needs to be done. Too much talk. One last sip is pali sati mal. How are we going to fix that, Val Coffee? Final words, Emil and Dara.
Well, I think the issue is there's a great fear for people who are very outspoken and we're able to see what is in their mind. And it's the powers that be. They ultimately have to make a decision that they want to bring us to the table. If we are not offered a seat on the table, we just cannot burst down the door because the SSU will bring us out. So it's important that they listen to what we're trying to say, what we want to do. We're offering our assistance. You may not agree with all what we're proposing. As not all the time you have to bring in a foreigner to tell you what must be done.
Most of the foreigners, they have to still talk to us.
Right.
To find out what's going on.
So you have people on the ground that you can have this conversation with. One of the first things that could happen, the Division of Culture and the DFC could have a national school bus tour where they take people that are knowledgeable in the industry to go to various schools and to talk to the children, educate them about the music industry and about life and in general and stuff like that. The associations that exist now need to work much more closely with their membership in terms of bridging that gap. In terms of even their own health. You look at June Oscar at Pan American, you can just bring guys together, all the Bouyon artists, all the soca artists, all the Calypsonians, go to June, go to Cherry Road in Surgical, get a health insurance, start doing meaningful things that can help bring you together. And how do we get a work contract? And the significant thing is the formula was set by Gordon years ago. We live between Guadeloupe and Martinique. And this is Rudy Douglas had a wonderful plan of saying that if we are part of Guadeloupe in the middle, we need to establish a good tight link with Europe. And if we can get ourselves to between Guadeloupe and Martinique and to forge that alliance with the musical industry how it is in Europe, it means therefore we can be able to have that platform to elevate and to export the music. We need to be able to bridge the gap. Dominica needs to be able to send contingents to the various carnivals in the various islands and to market itself and to be responsible enough to do it well. We have international cricketers all over the world now. Send people there. We failed with the Test cricket. I understand the Prime Minister talking about getting the stadium back together. Let's move on that in earnest. And because music, sports music, they all align. So it's an opportunity. I am prepared to offer my consultancy. I always work for free, but just give some money to the church. But but definitely it's something that I don't have a problem with. I think Emil and Dada as well.
Okay, Emil. Milo.
Yes, well, Val basically has said it all. I personally just want to see some better conversations. And by conversation, I mean conversing, talking properly, not hold your this and hold your that and different things, and they lying and different things. Proper conversations. Come sit down at a table, let's have a conversation, right? Let's reason properly and let us see how we can move forward. Put the petty differences aside, and it is time to unite for the betterment of you all, the Bouyon artists, the musicians. It is time to come together to unite for all you, right? Not for us guys sitting here, not for Wadix, but for you all, for your children. And if you do not put those petty differences aside and say, hey, let us come together and let us do it and let us have a conversation, it's never going to happen. And you're going to keep blaming this one and blaming that one and blaming the other one all the time. So come together, unite. There's a lot of money to be made. Val spoke about volunteering his services. I'm sorry, I don't volunteer my services. I have to get paid. And yeah, that's how I operate.
Okay,
you want to make money, I can help you make money, but I have to get paid. If Val want to give up his, that's
well,
up to
he's
Val.
he's not giving up. He's giving this to the church.
I'm very, very straight. Well, he can give his to the church.
He's getting paid, but he's giving that.
He can give his
church.
to the church, but Wadix is straight.
You want to get paid?
I work in, I have to get paid. End of story.
Okay, Dada.
Yeah, well, I agree with the panel. There's a lot to be done, and I think it's possible it can happen. I think to be fair, based on my experience in this business, I'd say if I think the government need to liaise with people like us, not the entire. One can argue that everybody have an opinion, but it's not really about the opinion. It's about the results. It's about the receipts. I have the receipts. Emil have the receipts. Val have the receipts. These are the people the government need to be engaging with, so we can show them, because based on from what we said there tonight, we can develop this industry. You understand? And I want to say it like that because too many times I see, like, every time there's always an engagement to happen, as far as developing music. They're not gonna talk to everybody, and everybody come back to that same circular firing squad where everybody shoot on each other. It doesn't make any kind of sense. You understand? So I think there needs to be a discussion with the administration, right? And then from there, we need to formulate a plan or an action plan, and then we can bring in people where need be. And then because the music business is a multi-billion-dollar industry, there's a lot of money to be had in this thing. And I think if we are able to put this in, Dominica can make a lot of money from Bouyon in the next 10 years.
Thank you very much, guys. I want to wish you happy Bouyon Day in the first instance, peaceful Carnival, and also happy Black History Month. Also, Kofi, by the way, before we leave, I just want to say final words to you, Kofi. Final words to you. Final words to you, my brother.
Yes, blessings. Very good discussion. I think I agree with everything that went on, everything that was said. And like you guys are saying, like that I just said, man, we need people that have the know-how and, people that can show that they have done it before and they can do it again to work and get this thing together. But you all mentioned something about earlier, just in the end there, like the sessions, not making the sessions available. Like, I think that program, if we can do like a podcast of certain programs to help, as documentation that you can replay and get, because sometimes the things on Facebook and so Facebook Live, but I think maybe Creole Habit can take that up to like a podcast of certain programs, like, condensed into effectiveness, like, and put it out there so we have that, people can make reference to, and even the people that we are appealing to listen or to take heed, they can even turn to that too, because sometimes, it's not easy to get back to the things that have passed already. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, thank you very much, Kyle Kofi, and big up to your massive in Chicago. Just want to say special thank you to you guys and to all our panelists from Wackers, Cornell Fingerslip, Geoffrey, and everyone who actually participated. My producers this evening were Julie Mango Roberts and the Dean of Instructions. I really want to thank them on behalf of Creole Heartbeat and DBS Radio. Happy Bouyon Day, happy Black History Month, and a peaceful Carnival. And I will join with Val Coffee and say eternal blessings from Yahweh, the Almighty Father. Thank you very much.
Amen.
Amen.